Yo, 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 what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I'm back. I'm back with an attitude because YouTube been messing with me. Wasn't able to get the show started, but welcome to the Friday night chop session with Stormybman. This is episode number 50, which is a benchmark for me, and I apologize for the delay, but it was beyond my control. I had to shut everything down, shut everything off, and I had to wait until the system rebooted itself completely, and it's still not 100% where it needs to be. But I appreciate those of you who have been patient enough to wait around and give me a chance to bring you some more content for this Friday, February 21st, 2020, just before the big fight, which is why this particular episode is called the Heavyweight Championship. And I was supposed to have a host of brothers on here with me. Hopefully some of them are still available and will make the rounds to come in so we can chop this up about this big fight for tomorrow night. But right now I got with me Brooklyn Child Boxing. I want to introduce Brooklyn to the chat there. What's going on with you, Brooklyn? How you doing this evening, brother?
Salute, Stormy. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, bro.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure, because usually you send the link. So, all right, cool. Oh, man, dude, I can't wait for this fight, man. Oh, my God. Tomorrow can't come fast enough, man, I swear.
Yeah, man. It's really a big event. We are really anticipating something, you know. Forgive me, I'm a little bit reticent with my words because it's like I just gotta get this out of the way. Everything was set up for me to do this show this evening. I come on, I get ready to, go live, and YouTube won't let me go live. Then it disconnected my audio from my OBS and everything, so I couldn't get my visuals, I couldn't get my audio, I couldn't get anything going. So for those of you who follow the Stormybman channel, I take a lot of pride in the fact that I could present you with a show with visuals and things like that. But it's not just that. It's just the overall means of going about the work. And so I had to actually, instead of using the show that I had pre-created when all I had to do was just hit and go live, I had to change everything around once I got things reconnected and just go live on the spot right now. And that's not usually how I do things. So it kind of threw me off. But respect to everybody that came out there to hear us. But yeah, other than that, I'm doing fine. I'm very excited about tomorrow night's fight. We had the weigh-in today, and there are some things that we can talk about. This whole show is about the fight tomorrow night, so the chat can participate. We can talk about it. We're gonna break this all down from head to toe. So yes, I'll let you go ahead and open up with what you thought about this week's press conference that led up to the weigh-in. Let's not just jump right into the weigh-in, but how about that press conference on Wednesday, Brooklyn? What'd you think of it?
I thought the press conference was amazing. It was great. And for me, I usually don't really get into who who won the press conference type of talk. I usually don't get into that because I guess for me, I'm not as good with psychology and body language like other people. So I usually don't really delve into that realm as much. But I definitely felt Tyson Fury was rattled by some of the things that Deontay Wilder was saying, because Tyson Fury is a character, man. He's always lying. He's a big liar. He's always talking BS, But Deontay Wilder was speaking truth, because especially when it comes to when he brought up the fact that like, oh, don't you ever talk about like you brought like he's Tyson Fury talking about he brought Deontay Wilder into big time boxing and Deontay Wilder's like, are you crazy? You didn't bring me into big time boxing. I brought you back into the fold because I had private conversations with you. You know those. I'm sure he knew those conversations. He knew those conversations. So what are you talking about? I brought you into big time boxing, and that rattled him. And also rattled him. And he spoke the facts like, hey, you was as big as a house. You know, you was on that booger sugar. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you're not confident. You have nervous energy, and I feel like he could sense it. And I felt Deontay Wilder could really sense it, and I could sense it too. I felt a nervous energy, and then also too, what was up with those sunglasses? And what was up with those sunglasses? And did anybody notice he had like a little cut on his lip, or a little like marking on his lip or something? Like, hey, you know, he was probably dudes was probably giving him that work in sparring. You know what I mean? So I don't think he's confident. I don't think he's that confident.
Yeah.
All I got for now.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, Tyrone, you say, do you get through on Discord? You're on it now? Yes. Yeah, just come on in, man. You can click right on my live stream. You'll pop right up on there because you've been cleared to come through. Yeah, Brooklyn, when I watched, I'll tell you a little small story here. I had a conversation with a couple of brothers behind the scenes, and my concern was, will Deontay approach this fight with the significance of what it really means for both his career, the division, and the right now? And it was something to see when he came out, and, you know, Deontay's not really a talker. He's not. But when he speaks, there is something to be heard when he makes his point. So it was never more evident than in this press conference where he decided to let it be known. And he took it to Fury in a manner of which it actually stunned Fury almost as good as that jab he got. You know, and he was taken aback. The man really didn't even have anything to say once the Bronze Bomber put it down about who's running things and who made these things possible. I was so impressed that he did speak up and voice what was the truth and what was facts about this whole ordeal and where we find ourselves presently coming into this rematch. And I thought he did it in his own manner, which was even better because he sent a direct message. And he basically, and I use this expression sometimes, I say he basically pulled Fury's pants down in front of the audience with that one. So I loved it. I loved it 100%. And before I say anything else, I want to welcome our little brother, Tyrone Smith, out there. Tyrone, you can come in and give your thoughts about what you thought about the press conference on Wednesday. As I see you were trying to get your mic together, brother. So how you doing? And let us know what your thoughts are.
Can you hear me?
We hear you just fine, brother.
Oh, man, my thoughts. It all started yesterday with the press conference. I'll be honest. I was talking to, I think it was it my live stream or was it I forgot whose live stream it was, but I came out and said I have never seen Tyson Fury so quiet and rattled and shaken. And a big point for me was remember when Wilder told him, he said, "Cat, got your tongue, you have nothing to say." He just sat there with his face down like this. And Fury literally had nothing to say because he couldn't say anything. And when I saw that press conference, I was like, you know, they had it in the stadium, but there wasn't many people in the stands. So then I found out later it was just closed press. But that weigh-in today was electric. And I think this will do a little over 1 million pay-per-view buys. That's what I think. It'll be a major, major success. It looks electric. I mean, I was in the gym today, and I was doing my squats and everything. I looked over to the right, and they had the weigh-in on the TV, and the stadium was packed full of people. The last time I saw it like that was McGregor Mayweather, I think. Packed full of people, electric. Even the decafs in the gym who knew nothing about boxing were watching it, and I think it'll be a major, major success tomorrow. I'm excited, really excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we also have my brother, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens. How you doing, Reggie, man? We're starting off with the press conference, man, and how Deontay flipped the script on this as a sort of a coming out for him, letting it be known that he was the alpha. Understand? And I wanted to hear what your thoughts were regarding that press conference.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Salute to everybody. Salute my brother. Salute to the chat. Man,
what's poppin', Reggie? Let's talk boxing shit, man.
Yes, indeed. I'm glad, and also I'm glad you got it back working, OG. I know you relieved for that one, man. But the press conference, man, Wilder put on a performance, a dominating performance, and right there, to me, is where he won this game. Psychologically, Tyson Fury is crushed. He crushed Tyson Fury, and then speaking about the things going bad in the training camp about slapping this dude, Tyson Fury getting up out of his seat because he knows it's all over. And also today, I don't know if we're going to get into it later, but today on Wilder's Instagram Live, he spoke out about the fact that Tyson Fury was cutting that camp. And so this is the reason why he's wearing all this stuff, and probably the reason why he has all this weight up on him. He ain't been training, but Wilder just brought it to this dude, embarrassed him. I don't know if it was planned for yesterday's press conference for them to go on commercial breaks. I thought they were giving Tyson Fury opportunities to try to recover from the embarrassment he was receiving, giving him time to breathe and think a little bit, and it just wasn't working for him, man. And the guy was just fearful up there. And then to watch Wilder grab that dude he grabbed him up under the armpits, almost lift him, and gave him a nice little shove. And for some reason, Tyson Fury made some old gasping noise, which I don't know if he's hurt somewhere. And then he comes back with a little soft push in return. But it was a man amongst boys up there on that stage. And it's a kind of a telltale of what's going to happen in that fight. Tyson Fury's defeated. It's over with.
Yes, and I saw that too, and I'll tell you something. Seeing him take that aggressive move and shoving Tyson Fury, even though Fury came back and pushed him back or whatever, but see, that was something that was unexpected, and basically Wilder, in his own sense, he was letting you know, I'm putting hands on you. You understand? And this is the start of it right now. I love that. It was aggressive, it was assertive, and it was alpha. This wasn't, somebody just being humble and happy to be there. I was so concerned. I like that. And that's how the fight is going to go. I figure Fury is going to be coming, like I like to say in certain fight circumstances, he's going to be fighting from behind now. And I like that because the champ is going to be out front. I want to welcome D-Style Boxing out there. And he made it in, and we started late, D-Style, so don't think that you missed too much, brother. I just got us going about 10, 15 minutes ago. So welcome, and let us know what your thoughts were about the press conference, because we're going to do the whole shebang talking about the weigh-in, and then later on we'll get to our concerns about what we think is going to happen in the fight. But we're going to fill this audience with full of conversation talking about this fight. They ain't going to talk about the undercard. We're going to talk about Wilder and Fury. So let us know, D-Style, what your thoughts were about that press conference, brother.
D-Style, you on mute.
D-Style, you might be muted.
All right, I was pressing the wrong mute button. All right, here. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you're good.
All right. First of all, I don't like to dive in that much or read too much into, weigh in, not the weigh in, but like press conferences and stuff like that. The reason is I usually make up my mind who's going to win a fight way before the hype starts, way before the countdowns, way before the face-offs, because I feel like you make a more clear-headed decision on who's going to win before all that. All right? Because, while we can think we read what we read, some dudes out there are just better actors than others, But with that said, Tyson Fury's behavior is so erratic, it cannot go unnoticed. I can't help. As much as I tell myself, don't read too much into it, don't read much into it. I had Wilder winning this fight. Before that, I'm just a little more confident now in my pick. I think there is something to wearing sunglasses and could it all be an act? Probably. But I think when you can't look a man in the eye without sunglasses, that just tells me a little bit. The behavior is a little erratic. I think he's trying a little too hard. Some may say he's just trying to sell the fight or pump himself up. Well, people could say what they want, but I do sense a little bit of nervous energy and all that. But I am officially all it's done is reaffirm my original prediction. So I'm not basing it off of that. It's just helping reaffirm the whole thing. But there's definitely a lot of stuff going on in the dome of Tyson Fury. I'm also a believer that when someone goes out of their way to explain to you how much they're sacrificing and how much they're giving up, I'm a firm believer that when someone overcompensates for some, it's for a reason. So when he says, I swear, like no one asked him, but he's going out of his way to tell Max Kellerman, I gave up diet soda. I gave up everything. Like I haven't touched one bad thing this entire training camp. And look, me, I didn't bring my wife. And look, I'm sacrificing all these things. It sounds to me like he's trying to convince himself, not us, because no one asked him all that. Like that's just something he brought up on his own. So I am. All it's done is reaffirm what I've already felt, but I still recommend people to make decisions on who they think is going to win way before the hype starts, way before anything. But those are my thoughts. I mean, nothing major.
Stormy, can I say something real quick?
Oh, sure, man. This is Talk That Talk tonight on the fight tomorrow, man. This is what we're here for this evening. So please add what you got to add.
I was cracking laughing when Deontay Wilder called that man Big Mama. I love that shit, boy. He called this man Big Mama because it's such a Southern thing, like. Kind of like, going to Big Mama's house for a Sunday dinner type of shit. You know what I mean? It's like, sit down, Big Mama. I love that shit, boy. I loved it. I was talking to Tyrone and other fellas like, yo, man, I'm forever going to call Tyson Fury Big Mama. I think so, man.
Yeah, that was great. He brought it. But you know what? That's what we needed from him. We needed for him to be himself, but also to be assertive. Were you going to say something, Tyrone? Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I said this. I was saying this to Brooklyn and Mike and some of the other brothers. I was like, remember how people early on made a big deal about, Wilder can't out-talk Fury and he can't do this and he won't even show up to the ESPN football games or whatever, the college football games, because he's scared of Fury or there's mental trauma there or whatever. He came out and destroyed him Thursday, or Wednesday. I'm sorry, just killed this guy and left him the most quiet he's ever been in his whole career. Just destroyed him, and even the weigh in, I think Wilder 5 or less. 5 or less.
We'll get
there to the we'll get there to the predictions and everything. But see, this is a slow simmer here because we don't want to miss anything. There's a lot of things that took place during this entire promotion, really kicking off with this press conference. And that's why I'm trying to get you guys to zero in and focus, because there was some things revealed here, and it's going to play out in the fight. Okay? It's going to play out in the fight, and you'll be able to look back and say, oh, yeah, I did notice, So that's why, and out of various guys having different observations, we'll get to there. We'll get to that. So someone else want to ask something? I'm trying to get something set up for Drew so he can get on with us. Reggie.
I'll say something else, man. I think, and I'm glad. I don't know who mentioned about Tyson's wife or something. That's something I picked up too, because it's like, okay, so I'm assuming she's not going to be there, and it goes back to all that stuff about a year ago, as far as his family and stuff not wanting to see this fight, not wanting him to take this fight again. Maybe his wife was like, man, dude, I'm not watching that shit. I'm not supporting this.
That's what I saw.
I really believe that, because we see Wilder's wife. You know what I'm saying?
Everywhere.
Tyson Fury's lady is not there. I think that's something to be. I think that's a key factor too, because like I said, it goes back to what was said a year ago. All this the family don't want. As far as Tyson Fury taking the ESPN deal, the family don't want Wilder. Don't want Fury to fight this man. Tyson Fury's wife was in the stands when he almost got, decapitated. His lady was there in the stands. You know what I'm saying? So for her not to be there, bro, she does not support his decision. You know what I mean? And she don't want to be in the venue when we think we're gonna see what happens.
I actually saw an interview. Sorry to cut you off, Brooklyn. I saw that interview. It said she's barred from the house or something like that. So she has to watch from home. So, yeah, just more to your point that this won't end too well for him.
Yeah. I want to take a moment out to welcome Drew Titan, who has joined us. What's going on with you, Drew? Good to see you out there, brother. We're talking about that press conference. Would you like to chime on in with that, with your thoughts about that press conference, man, and how it's got ready to kick this fight off for this weekend?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. What's going on, brothers?
Man.
Yeah, the conference went exactly how I thought it would go. Fury, to me, I don't know what you guys saw, but that was a lot of nervous energy. In particular, I honed in on the, I'm just going to call it what it is, the homosexual overtones, not undertones, or homosexual overtones. It seems to be clearly a UK thing. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. Don't tell me I'm homophobic. This shit just looks weird to me. When he starts hugging on, I think that was his brother or something, and, acting like he was like sucking on his nipple, in a sense mocking when they showed Wilder leaning on his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's just a weird guy. All of this talk about masturbating at 100 miles an hour, all of this weird talk, it doesn't make sense to me. Well, actually it does. The more I see him and the more I read how some, not all, some of the UK fans who support that behavior, it's not so much as they support that behavior, they support him. It's a double-edged sword here, man. They support him and they hate Wilder. All right, and they're one and the same. And once Fury's gone, the hate for Wilder's still going to continue. But to get back on topic, The weigh-in went exactly how I expected. I knew he would get booed. All of those guys was UK fans, and UK fans then Wilder haters. You know, I bet you a lot of the Americans in there was one booing. But here's why I don't pay attention to that. I don't pay attention to that because I want you guys to think back. How many press conferences and weigh-ins did Floyd Mayweather get booed in? I think like all of them. He was never, ever celebrated. No one ever applauded him. And like, I'll say this. For every one person that applauded him, there might have been 5 people booing him. You understand what I'm saying? So this is why I really don't pay attention to that rhetoric, you know, because, you know, people hit me up on social media immediately while it was happening. Oh, look at your man getting booed. Look at him. Like, yes, sir. Floyd got booed. Who cares? Because I know what's going to happen. Or he didn't take his shirt off, whatever. It could be game. They didn't investigate it any further, so I'll take it at face value. He came in at 273. Wilder's coming in at 231. I just had a debate with a friend of mine on Facebook, and he said that the weight advantage really isn't going to help either guy. But I explained, because he said something very weird. He said that Wilder didn't have his best performance when he was at 229 or 230 in the past. And I said to him, I didn't have time to pull up the facts on that, but I said to him, my simple question to him was, what round did he knock the bloke out in? Because it ended in a knockout. I don't even know what pony he's talking about. But I'm saying, what round did he knock the guy out in? That was the question. And I also had to remind him that Tyson Fury is on record. As of last week, there was a phone interview he had. He said his hardest fight was Steve Cunningham. I was at that fight. It was at the theater in Madison Square Garden. And I was there. And in order for him to win, he had to rough him up and foul him and do all kinds of weird shit in order to get that win. Because Cunningham was in that fight, man. But he was just a smaller guy, and size overcame him. But if you remember, he knocked Tyson right on his ass. And I said back then, as big as this dude is, you better be glad he's 6'9", because he doesn't have a chin at all. At all. He doesn't have a chin at all. And we see it in the Wilder fight. So my buddy, who I was having a friendly debate with, I said to him, listen, man, in the last 2 fights, that based off of what I've seen, first of all, Deontay Wilder had the better opponents, and he closed the show. You know, I liked how he handled Ortiz in the rematch better than he did in the first fight. He showed poise. He showed knowledge of the ring. He planted his punches, and there was no quote unquote windmills. He lined up that right hand with a blinding jab. That jab was a measurement stick, and he landed it perfectly on, in my opinion, the second best heavyweight in the world. And these are things, and I'm not even going to get into what he did with Dominic Breazeale. I was there live for that. So Dominic Breazeale and Louis King Kong Ortiz. Now, if you look at what Tyson Fury has done in his last 2 fights, there's no comparison, especially since he got his eye cut up by some guy we wasn't even paying attention to. So if you look at the body of work, we've seen the best we can see out of Tyson Fury. He is who he is. Deontay Wilder has officially learned on the job, and he's settled into his skin. He's not coming in this fight at 208 pounds with the flu and a right hand that's so bad that he didn't want to throw it during training camp. Okay, this is a well-rested, confident heavyweight champion of the world coming into this fight. And Tyson Fury has problems. So all of that energy that we saw, all of that talk that we saw, and they don't want the fighters facing off, getting close to each other. Yo, listen, man, the walls have officially closed in on him. There's a reason why I'm picking Wilder to win this fight within 6. Between 1 and 6, this fight is over. There's a reason why. And we can go from, we could talk about in-ring activity to the out-ring activity as to why the immediate rematch didn't even take place. That was all his fault. In the changing of the camp, He done fired everybody. And I mean, this is not the behavior of a confident man. So what I saw was nervous energy. Okay, there was no way out of this. If he didn't fight Deontay Wilder next, what was he going to do? What was he going to do? He wasn't going to do much that was going to get any level of respect. You understand what I'm saying? So it's over for this guy. And I have a strong suspicion that once Wilder gets him out of there, there's a chance either this will be his last fight, or he might squeeze in maybe a Chisora fight or something that he knows he could win and ride off into the sunset. But after tomorrow, they better hide all the cocaine and the corned beef hash in Vegas, because he's going to go on the line of depression, man. I hope he prays to who he worships. But that's my thoughts on that.
Let me say something about the fight you mentioned with Wilder and Ortiz, and I'll tie that into the first fight, my comment about the first fight that took place between Wilder and Fury. In the fight against Ortiz, the rematch, you are absolutely 100% dead on when you said that the patience that he showed and the boxing IQ that he showed. But I want to take it even a little deeper and offer up the fact that something that nobody wants to give him credit for. The man showed some technical skill and precision in everything he did in that fight. Now, what was very interesting was this. I remember going in, everyone had remarked how Luis Ortiz had gotten himself in supreme shape. He was even looking younger and everything. His body was cut. He had got rid of a lot of fat off of his body and everything. And he was focused because that first fight was a battle for him. So he was really coming to win. It wasn't like he just came in and said, I'm going to give it a go a second time. No, Ortiz had got himself in as good a shape as he could to try to turn the bout around. But what I noticed about this rematch was that in the first fight, Deontay fought him where he kind of like kept a little bit of a distance, and he was worried about Ortiz being that great counterpuncher he is and everything. And he allowed Ortiz to take, he was countering off of the counterpuncher. And Ortiz thought he was in a safe position. But all the while, Deontay, if you notice, he didn't throw very many right hands in that fight. He threw tons of jabs and left hooks to the head and to the body, sometimes doubling up head and body. And there was a left hook that hit Ortiz on the head, kind of like on the top of the head, on the side, that kind of made his legs do a little bit of a stumble, whatever, but he held his composure. But it was at that point when he decided, I can't let this guy keep hitting me with this left, and he started going over toward the right. Strategy. A tactical means of setting him up for what was to come. Now, a lot of people said, oh, he lost all those rounds till he knocked him out. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Just like some fights where good action is taking place by one particular fighter who's fighting on the inside and he doesn't get credit for the body punches, people are not giving Deontay Wilder credit for his boxing. You don't make it to the point where he is without being able to box. He can fight, he can box, and he can punch. He's a complete fighter. The consensus is because he's not doing it or hasn't come by the way that they say he should come, doesn't mean he is less efficient or effective. And they're going to know this by the time it's all over. But while they're still waiting and watching on that right hand, and he's touching people up with that left and that hook, and I've said it many times before, that he can possibly punch every bit as hard with the left than he can with the right, because his jab is tremendous when he decides to throw it. So the thing about it is, this is a man who's thinking, okay? And in the first fight with Tyson Fury, Deontay was a little over anxious, but we did find out later that he come into the fight with a broken hand. So if he was fighting with a broken hand, you remember he was overshooting it a lot, right? And it was just going over Fury's shoulder. He was ducking down, dipping down and everything. But there was a moment in one of the rounds where he knocked Fury down, where he got him a little bit on the top of the head and finished. And then Fury kind of went down on the seat of his pants. But setting him up all the while, because Fury got into a habit of ducking down like he was, because he thought he was in a safe place. But remember, if Deontay Wilder had a broken hand, if you start landing that with that punch early on, you better get rid of him early on, because later in the fight you won't be able to throw it because it's broken already and you're just going to do more and more damage to it. So he was doing certain other things in the fight. But go back and look at the 12th round when the bell rang to start the round. When the bell rang to start the 12th, Deontay came out and they were moving, jabbing each other a little bit. And within the first 25 to 30 seconds, Fury was on the canvas. The right hand that he hit him with and the left hook to finish him off would put him on the canvas was a right hand that landed on the money. Okay, all those other rounds, he was overshooting it, right? But he came out in the 12th. He said, it's time to get him out of here. And he hit him, and he went down. So what that told me is that he knew what Fury was doing, but he wanted to still get that shot in there on him, because that's not a shot due to the injury he had. He could get the most effectiveness out consistently over a period of time. But when he did throw it, he threw it to get him up out of there, and it landed solidly. With that being said, what is Fury going to be able to do in this rematch? Try to get close, try to smother and this and that? Well, yeah, that seems like a viable option, right? But not against a guy who was already laid to waste. Okay? The man was laid to waste. He was concussed. He was out. They allowed him to finish the fight, but he shouldn't have finished the fight. He was done. And don't forget, this is the man who did it to him. So he's going to revisit that. Okay? He's going to revisit that. Being heavier ain't going to help, because it ain't building no wall around this here, right? The chin. It ain't. Huh? And I'll tell you something else. Getting hit with them left hooks to the body in the first fight wasn't serving him well. And since Deontay has gotten so good at it, he's given Deontay a hell of a target. Okay? He gonna wish he was a little lighter so he can move a little faster. But it's okay, because he's gonna take advantage of it. Remember, I said IQ. Tactical means of being able to box. He's got Mark Breland in his corner. He knows what to do. I don't want to take too much more of your time. I want to let someone else say something. D-Style, you got something to offer?
Well, look, as far as what exactly?
Anything. We're just talking open on these two guys for tomorrow. We're going to touch on it as much as we can. That's all.
All I know is that Tyson Fury is going to go in 3. That's all I know. Okay. At the end of the day, you know, the talking is over once that bell rings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If Fury wants to talk and he wants to do his showmanship stuff, look, man, a lot of the tricks he plays, you know, those smoke and mirrors, they'll work for one fight, right? But once your tricks are exposed, that's it. Well, what do you have to offer? You know, and I don't know if he's serious about wanting to go in there and knock Wilder out or not. I don't know. But it doesn't matter to me. You know, if he comes aggressively, if he tries to box, whatever it is he tries to do, I just personally don't see how that right hand does not land. And I don't see how that it's going to land earlier this time. And there's going to be no light at the end of the tunnel. This dude's going to wake up and the fight's going to be over. Right? It's going to be confetti flying. Okay, falling from the, ceiling of the arena. All right, he's going to be lying horizontal on the mat. Okay, they're going to wake his ass up. Okay, they're going to be flickering the light on his eyeballs. And that's just how I see it. I do think he's going to get hit in devastating fashion. And like the old saying goes, the bigger you are, the harder you will fall. And I think he's going to fall hard. I just think that Tyson Fury is whatever he's done in boxing, he's done it, and that's that.
But you see. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Oh no. Go ahead, Joe. I'll go after you, bro.
Yeah, I'm just saying. There are things, in my opinion, are simple things that the media is ignoring and the obvious fans are ignoring. Every time Deontay touched him clean, he either backed up or he fell. The first knockdown, I believe, happened in round 9, the first official knockdown. That was a grazing blow, man. That was a grazing blow. And it wasn't enough to put him to sleep, but it was enough to get his attention and knock him on his ass. Fury has no chin because he's hard to get touched. I mean, really think about what I'm saying here. I know Stormybman. I know you remember Mike the Giant White. I know you remember him.
Absolutely.
Would you say he was better than Tyson Fury?
No, their skill set is quite, on par. The only thing is Fury might be a little more agile with his body movement, but as far as the skill level, I find them equal, And I'll even offer one more thing since you asked me about Mike. Fighters who are of that size and stature aren't accustomed to taking shots because most of the guys can't reach them. So when they're getting a lot of sparring in and things like that, the punches, when you're punching up, it doesn't have the same effect and trajectory as if you were punching down. So when you're fighting a guy that's a foot or more taller than you, and the average heavyweight might be 6'2", 6'3", and this guy is 6'9", 6'10". I think Mike was 6'10", wasn't he?
He was 6'10".
Yeah. So it's like it's not the same shock value of having taken the punches because people can't reach them. They can kind of stick their arms up sometimes or lean back out of the way and take a lot off of a shot. But I also remember when he fought Michael Moore and the bell rings for the first round and Moore comes out there and dips low and comes right up with that left hand. Boom! And Mike fell like a tree in the forest.
That's right. I remember that. I remember that.
And Fury will fall like a tree in the forest if you land. And what was the cruiserweight name that dropped him? Cunningham,
whom he said was his hardest fight. Yeah. He didn't say Wilder was. He said he was. Let me tell you, I had good seats. And when I saw that, when he knocked him on his ass, the thing that I noticed, he wasn't when he fell, because he fell on his back. It was a flash knockdown because he got right up. But when I was with a friend of mine, and I said, "Yo, did you just see that?" I said, he's not used to getting clocked in the face, man.
Yep.
He's supposed to have good sparring where he gets buzzed enough that he's used to that.
There you go.
They do it. That's what sparring is for. There's certain things like I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but old kung fu movies, you see that the guys training, they dipping their hands in coal, and they call it toughening their hands. You're getting your hands used to a particular type of combat. That's what sparring is supposed to do. You understand? You're not supposed to be in a goddamn sparring match with a football helmet, because that's not helping you in the long run. Now, Fury has great foot movement for his size. He's very loose. He's very long. He's very limber. But I noticed Cunningham knocked him on his ass, and I was saying that was awful for years. And then here we are years later. He said that was his hardest fight. And you in there with a puncher like Deontay Wilder? I mean, I'm being nice by saying this shit is over in 6, but I agree with D-Styles. This shit might be over in 2 or 3 rounds, man, because we have a confident, healthy Wilder coming into this fight. And I just watched him on Instagram. He ain't got a care in the world. This guy, it's another day at the office, man. All right, he got the jitterbugs out the way. Everything's fine. He knows what to expect. We know what we're getting with Tyson Fury. And I'm not really concerned about the weight. We know what we're getting with this guy. With Wilder, all we've gotten, look at what Wilder did. Look at how he fought, let's say, Audley Harrison. Everyone laughs at the end of the fight because he was kicking his ass, and then Wilder was doing the flailing, and that's where they get the windmill from. And it looks sloppy, but if you watch him from that point all the way up to the last Ortiz fight, it's 2 different fighters. Mark Breland has done a wonderful job in calming him down and teaching him how not only to land that jab, but to use it as a blinder and to line up that right hand. That's what I'm telling everybody. Dominic Brazil didn't get hit with a windmill. Berrane Stavern didn't get hit with a windmill. Okay? Tyson Fury didn't get floored by a windmill. Those were straight right hands down the pike set up by a jab. That's boxing 1-0 motherfucking 1.
Matter of fact, can I just add something on to that you said, dropping Stavern's name in there? Mm-hmm. Stavern was set up by rapid piston jabs. They were coming so fierce and so with such snap that he didn't even have time to react to the right hand that was coming behind. And as the ref was counting over him and he stood up, he tells the ref, he hit me in the back of the head. Huh? That's what he told the ref. As you kind of go back and look at the film, the ref is counting 6, 7. He gets up. He's like, he hit me in the back of the head. Now, we know Stavern had dreads, right? And the ball was in the back right there. But Deontay Wilder hit him so hard on the chin that he thought that the punch hit him back here. Uh-huh. For that split second, he was separated from his senses. All started with that blinding jab. And he had his hands up. Deontay punched through the guard. You know, in Kung Fu movies, they tell you, punch through the target, you know. Yeah. He punched through the target. The fist came out the back of his head. He's like, he hit me in the back of the head. You know, that's how fierce it was. It is no joke with this man. But like I said, that came off of technique. If you see the first fight and the second fight, yeah, some people could say, well, Stavern didn't come very motivated or this or that or whatever. He was still a 250-plus pound man or whatever, and you saw what Deontay did to him? This is not a movie, man. This is real life stuff happening here, and people don't want to give this man credit for it. He's taking people out of there, and he's doing it with skill.
On average.
You can actually get a lucky shot and hit a guy upside the head, but when people know you can punch and they try to get defensive and cover themselves up and things like that, and you still put their asses on the canvas, find different ways to do so, that takes ability. George Foreman punched very hard and was a very strong man and everything. But he didn't put every man he fought on the canvas. He hit Evander Holyfield with some fire. You understand? For a 40-year-old man. But I guarantee you, if Evander took one of those punches from Deontay, he'd be on the canvas. Probably sleeping after that. This is the difference of what we're talking about. It comes at a different trajectory. It comes at a different speed. It comes with a different snap. We're seeing something special. The closest thing that I could say when you talk about this man and his efficiency is like he's like a heavyweight Tommy Hearns.
Right.
Because Tommy Hearns used to hit guys just like this. And Tommy Hearns, over his career, developed a hell of a left hook that he could drop down there to that body to make you line up over there for that right hand. So sometimes, you know, guys get catching it and then next thing, boom, and they gone. Same thing is happening right here in the heavyweight division, right before your eyes. And if you look at Deontay's build, he's built just like Tommy Hearns. Those guys with them rolling shoulders like that and thin little waist, long sinewy arms, dude, that's power. That's natural born power. That wasn't from lifting no weights and taking PEDs and all of that. That came from the womb.
It's mathematically. I'm being very honest with you. It doesn't. Every decade or so, we get an athlete that defies logic, and what he's doing mathematically doesn't really make sense. Okay, I've seen him. If you look at the slow motion when he's hitting Bermain Stavern, when he hit him, it would appear to be a slapping. After he hit him, I can't remember. He hit him with a jab, and then it's after the first knockdown, and then he hit him with a clubbing right hand. Now in the gym, they'll tell you 100% of the time those clubbing shots when you're cocking your arm all the way back and you're hitting with a clubbing shot, by the time it hits the target, there's supposed to be so much steam off of those punches. It might sound loud, but there should be no power, no real power on it than actual hook when you're turning your elbow and turning your whole waist and hip into it. For some reason, Deontay Wilder is hitting people with those clubbing hands, and they feel like they're getting hit with a ton of bricks. Mathematically, man, logically, what he's doing really doesn't make sense for a guy his size. It's not making sense. It really doesn't, man. Every day I'm finding a video where these guys are saying I sparred with Wilder, and this guy, hands down, I was shocked. I just watched this thing on YouTube earlier with David Hay, when they talked about, you know, that clip they always show where he rolled Deontay's jab and came back with the right hand in sparring. Well, they asked David Hay the truth about that whole camp, and they interviewed all of the sparring partners, and all of the partners were saying, "Yo, look, man, this guy, the American Wilder," they said this guy's hitting with something else, man. And none of these guys are on the payroll. One guy was from Croatia. Matter of fact, the Croatian guy was the guy that gave David Hay the cut. And they're all saying, yo, look, man, this guy is hitting with something else. And this was when he had a short haircut and he was barely ranked. Okay, he was up and coming. And they were saying, yo, this guy is hitting with something else. This is something different. And it was a buzz within the industry. But no one really paid it much attention because you look at him and they say, okay, all right, well, you know, due to his style and the way he punches, you know, someone will get him out of there soon. And it never happened. And here we are 5 years later. And we're here and the guy's only gotten better. And I tell the haters, I say, look, man, you better be glad he don't have the quote unquote Lennox Lewis or Larry Holmes jab or the Lennox Lewis skill set. You better be glad he don't have that. Because if he did, it'd be a million times worse. They're ducking him now, and the only criticism they could have is his skill set. Well, you criticizing his skill set, the man's knocked out 40-plus men. And I don't care what you're saying. This is at heavyweight, man.
And I'll say
this
something.
Is at heavyweight.
I'll say something to that too, Drew. I was just recently watching some Lennox Lewis fights, and I had remarked on another chat that when he graduated, when he transitioned from being a 230, 235 pound fighter to a 240, 245 pound fighter under Emmanuel Stewart, Emmanuel had him put on that extra 10, 15 pounds because it made him a little more solid on his feet, you know?
Right.
And his center of gravity for how he punched and everything. If you look at Lennox, he kept his feet spread apart almost the same distance that Deontay does. And
Right.
Leonard had more mass. And his right hand was a damn good right hand. He could knock a guy out with a right hand punch. But even Lennox Lewis doesn't punch like Deontay Wilder. And Lennox could hit you and knock you sideways or something like that. But Deontay could hit you and you would go down, because it is something about that power that he has that makes people check out, you know. And I've watched plenty of fights. And like I said, Lennox was the modern day era big guy like that, right? But if they were in a fight together, all Deontay would have to do is get that punch home. And he probably would, because he's a lot faster. Now, Lennox, he had a better grasp of, you know, the boxing, the textbook boxing.
Right.
But see, when you put him in there with someone like Deontay would be like a Roy Jones. He's not doing everything orthodox. He's a little unorthodox. And that's what you can't prepare for. It might come from a different angle, like I said earlier, a different trajectory or something like that. And that right hand that he throws is often like a baseball pitcher when they throw. Bob Gibson or somebody like that. It's like it comes, and there's a fight out here of his. They show the highlight all the time, and I can't remember the brother's name, where he's throwing that right hand, and the brother's near the ropes. But if even in slow motion, the right hand it starts and it picks up a velocity in slow motion. The punch jumped like 3 or 4 frames and hit the guy on the chin. In other words, the guy knew the punch was coming and still couldn't get out the way of it.
Price.
Huh?
That was the Kelvin Price knockout.
Yes, absolutely.
That's one of my
And I'm
favorite
like,
ones.
if
I love that
you
one.
look at that highlight in slow motion, he starts to punch, and then the punch just takes off even faster and nails the guy before the guy can even try to get out of the way, because he can see it's getting ready to come. But that's like what Drew just said a moment ago. When you talk about mathematics and you try to do the equations, because even earlier during this weigh-in, they were talking about the distance that a pitch goes from the pitcher's mound to the glove, a fastball. Deontay's punch is like that, but almost a little bit faster. That's incredible. That's incredible. And they say the last thing to go is a guy's punch, right, as they get older or whatever. But he's so fast, like right now, even when he starts to slow down, that punch is still going to hit your ass. You know what I'm saying? It's something, it's an amazing feat. But like I said, people don't want to give him credit for what he's able to do. Drew, you one of the OGs out here. What fighter do you know in boxing history at heavyweight has put down every single man he's faced in the ring, made him touch the canvas?
I can't name one other. But the thing is, you know, see, the type of conversation we're having right now is a real conversation. You talk to someone that doesn't know as much or hasn't been around as long as we have, they'll tell you they would rather discredit the entire division and the entire era that we're walking through right now than to give Deontay Wilder his credit. And that's sad. That's a sad state of affairs, man. This guy, we're living in the now. We're witnessing something special. But people really analyze. You ask these guys, why don't you like this guy again? You just ask them, okay, you don't like him. Why don't you like him? And they'll say, oh, I don't like how he punches. But wait a minute. The record shows he's knocked everybody out, man. So what is the problem again? Oh, well, you know, this is a shitty era. Wait a minute. Who's one of your favorite fighters of all? Name 3 favorite fighters of all time. And I swear to God, they'll say Mike Tyson. Mind you, a lot of these kids are just born in the 90s. They don't even really remember Mike Tyson. They just know what they see on YouTube and what they've read, and they see knockout highlights. Okay, great. I'll tell them, yo, look, this era ain't shit. Mike Tyson's one of your favorite guys. Deontay Wilder ain't fight stellar competition. Do you know that Mike Tyson in his first 2 years of his career fought like over 21 times? You're going to tell me all 21 of those fights were world beaters? No. He didn't fight any fucking body, really, in my opinion, until he got the, I have to look at it again, but he didn't fight anybody real until he got to Trevor Berbick. And I'm not going to discredit Trevor Berbick, but if you want to apply a shitty heavyweight era, I mean, look, man, can we analyze Mike Tyson's record? He's an all-time great, and we love him. But then you have to, if you hate Wilder, I want to analyze why you hate him. But if you love Mike Tyson, I can also analyze why the fuck you love that guy. And let's keep it boxing. I don't want to talk about nothing else. Because the truth of the matter is, Mike Tyson was dominant in a declining era. And that's the truth. And when the heavyweight division got thick again, his ass got locked up. And then when he came out of jail, he got his ass beat. We never got to see him versus David Tua or Chris Bird or Ike Ibeabuchi. I'd have loved to have seen those things.
Or Riddick Bowe.
But what we did see was him come out of prison and fight Evander Holyfield, who came off of a heart condition, and he got his ass whooped. And what did we do? We made excuses for Mike saying, well, if he didn't go to prison for those years. No. He didn't go to prison and balloon up to 400 pounds and then develop a drug habit. No, he was preserved in prison. He wasn't taking any shots. He wasn't fighting every day. Nobody was bothering him. He went to prison. He came out. He got in shape. And I was probably the only person in the 80s that said, yo, there's a guy at cruiserweight that's specifically going to heavyweight to fight Mike Tyson, and I think he'll beat him. And all of my friends told me I was crazy. And I was talking about Evander Holyfield. And everyone said I was crazy. The fight happens like 10 years later.
When Mike came out of prison, he was probably in some of the best shape of his life, too. That's another thing that people don't want to talk. If you remember him, when that first training camp that he went in there to fight Peter McNeely, Mike was in damn good physical condition. He was in good. He had no body fat.
Mike was training from what I heard, Mike was training in prison for like 7 to 8 months because he knew he was coming out. And he knew he had to get a fight immediately because he knew he needed some money.
Yep.
So that was already set up. Mike was in shape when he got out. So I don't take it. He didn't lose the prime of his years like how Ali went to jail in his prime. There was nothing like that. He went to jail on a bullshit rape charge, but that's another conversation. But when he came out, he was preserved. He wasn't taking any shots. He ain't had no cuts, no bumps, no bruises. Ali went to prison and came out, and the whole fucking era was different. And he lost the prime of his years. Big difference. Mike came out, and the era got better. And everyone was there, and everyone was the same age. Riddick was there, Lennox was there, and you got to wonder if I could look at the stylistically, and I was saying that Evander could beat Mike stylistically, and I was very young back then. I can only imagine. I mean, what would have happened if he fought Evander before he got? Well, actually, he fought Buster Douglas and got his ass whooped in Japan. He was supposed to line up actually, if I'm not mistaken, that was supposed to be the Evander Holyfield fight right there. But what happened was he chose to fight Buster for a quick payday. I don't remember all the particulars there, but that fucked up the Evander Holyfield payday. That fucked it up. All right. What I do know is that when I spoke to Nate Campbell, he said, look, man, I don't know if anybody could have beat Buster that night because he was on a mission. And if you look at the intangibles, Buster was, 6'5"? He was like 230 that night. He was working that jab like a piston, man. Go back and look at that fight. And he whooped Mike's ass. Now, Mike, he had some shit with his corner, and he ain't take him serious. But you know what? When you're a professional, man, that's your fault, man. That's your fault. But I said all of that about Mike Tyson to say this. You can't say that Mike Tyson is one of your favorite fighters because he was so dominant, but then rip Deontay Wilder in the same conversation. It doesn't make sense. It's like non-alcoholic beer. It doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense.
There's something I'd like to add to that too, Drew, about Mike Tyson. For those who want to say, well, Mike wasn't he wasn't in the best of his shape and everything in Tokyo when Buster knocked him out. BS. I'll tell you why. Because, as you just stated, Buster was 6'4", 6'5", 230 plus pounds, had fast hands, decent punching power, mobile, agile, and he on that night he brought it. Mike went 10 rounds. If Mike wasn't in condition, he couldn't go 10 rounds.
Thank you.
He couldn't go 10 rounds. Buster beat all the fight out of Mike that night. He beat all the fight out of Mike that night. I'll tell you something for trivia's sake. If you go back and you look at the films, when after that night, you know, they didn't even have an answell to protect Mike's eye. So his eye swole shut and he really took everything that Buster had to offer. But 6 to 8 months after that fight, he still had a black eye from that fight. That meant that he took some punishment. You don't have a black eye for 6 or 8 months. Okay? And he went 10 rounds, taking it. Okay? He got stopped in 10 rounds by Evander Holyfield.
Yep.
And again, if you're not in condition, you can't go 10 rounds in a top-notch fight like that with high-caliber opposition. And Buster was high-caliber opposition for those of y'all that don't want to believe that. Buster Douglas, just a few fights before Mike Tyson, beat Oliver McCall, who was Mike's chief sparring partner at one time, because he could take it and dish it better than anybody else that they had brought up there to work with Mike. And Mike didn't want to fight Oliver in a real fight. But he kept him around for a sparring partner and paid him pretty good, but he didn't want to face him. Buster Douglas beat the crap out of Oliver McCall. Okay? So he wasn't in shape. And I mean, he was in shape and he went 10 rounds. So, I mean, for those who want to give that explanation, oh, well, Mike didn't train, he wasn't himself. He was himself. He was just burning candles at both ends because he thought he was young and invincible at 22, 23 years old. That's all that was.
Let me add this. For those that like to say he wasn't in shape and he was partying or whatever, fine. When he was locked up, a lot of things were happening. Bo throwing his belt in the trash instead of fighting Lennox Lewis. But a lot happened with Evander Holyfield. If I'm not mistaken, when Mike was locked up, didn't Bo fight Holyfield 3 times?
Yeah. He had been knocked out in the third fight.
He been knocked out in the third fight. Those are 3 hard-ass fights, man. Those were not easy fights. He fought George Foreman. I believe I might have my timelines mixed up.
Ray Mercer?
Didn't he fight Ray Mercer? Didn't he fight John Ruiz?
He fought John Ruiz after he defeated Tyson.
Okay, now, all right, so we'll stop right there. Those are like 4 or 5 fights that he had while Mike was in prison. Okay, so while Mike was preserved, getting 3 meals a day, not taking no lumps upside the head, hanging out with the Nation of Islam or whatever, Evander was out here getting his hairline pushed back in some of these fights.
Literally.
You understand? Literally getting his hairline pushed back. So he was getting busy. He was been knocked out. I mean, come on. He was out there taking punishment while Mike Tyson was preserved, and he had a heart problem. Because I remember leading up to the fight, I was like, nah, Mike going to kill him, and he's going to have a heart attack. He's going to die like Apollo Creed in the ring. And I said, yo, look. I said, I'm going down to Secrets. I bet all my friends. I said, yo, I was in high school when that fight happened. I said, yo, look, I bet all y'all $10. And I took all their money. I said, yo, Evander going to knock Mike out. They said, no. I remember getting laughed at the spades table. I remember these cats clowning me all day, all night. And when fight night happened, I sat in the living room with my arms folded. And I was pissed because in the back of my mind, I said, yo, Evander better not get knocked out any point. I don't even want him touching the canvas. And by the time the 5th round rolled around, I was settled. I was just looking around like, yep. I said, you know you're going to lose, right? You know you're going to lose. And Mike got his ass whooped. And that wasn't age because Evander was out in the world working while Mike was locked up and being preserved. He didn't age, and if I'm not mistaken, Evander's older than Mike.
Yeah, about 4 years.
About 4 years. So this is an older man who's been busy, and while Mike was in prison, he was knocked out by Riddick Bowe. So he's been in the trenches. So again, we talk about that math. Mathematically, Mike was supposed to go in there and beat up Evander Holyfield, but he didn't. He didn't. So again, what does this have to do with Deontay Wilder? If you're gonna say that Mike Tyson is an all-time great and one of your favorite heavyweights because of his record and how he fights, well, what do you mean how he fights? Because he knocks everybody out. It was in his prime, he was knocking everybody out. Well, wait a minute. What is Deontay Wilder doing right now as we fucking speak? He's knocking everybody out. Okay, he's the complete opposite of what you said Floyd Mayweather is. And again, I'm only talking about in the ring. I don't even want to get into the outside antics outside the ring. Okay, this guy puts himself at risk. Deontay Wilder will take a hit to land one because he has faith in his power. Okay, this guy is everything that we said we hated about Floyd Mayweather, and his record reflects everything that we said we praised about Mike Tyson. And if you want to go there, outside of the ring, he's 10 times a better man as both of them. But let's not go there. Let's keep it boxing in the ring. Okay? So what is the motherfucking problem? There's the problem. There's the problem. This is just, it's bullying, man. It's bullying. It's the kids in class looking at that one quiet kid saying, oh, he smells bad. And now the motherfucker all across the room, the other kids all across the room saying, yeah, he does smell bad, but they get close enough to say that, to see themselves that he smells bad, but they're just going along with the flow. It's a bandwagon of hatred, and it's disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. It's dismal that our champion is being treated as such. Okay? And the fact that these guys were ready to jump on the AJ bandwagon and everything else, they're ready to do all of that and turn their back on this guy who's brought up from nothing. They talk about how AJ accomplished all of these accolades with less work. But then when the fight was being spoken about maybe 3-4 years ago, I clearly remember the fans and people out of Eddie Hearn's camp talking about, yo, well, he's still, he's not ready yet. He has less fights. He's not ready yet. But they damn sure threw like $7 million at Charles Martin. He was ready for that, though, right? But if Deontay Wilder is Windmill Wilder and trash, and I'm going to knock him out in 4 rounds, I remember all of that shit. I knock him out in 4 rounds, and, who is he? No one knows him. Great. If he was the easiest work in the heavyweight division, and he has the WBC strap, wouldn't you have come to America a long time ago and collect that belt just to have it? I mean, these guys, how could I believe what you say when I see what you do? How can I believe what you say when I see what you do? Okay, you're saying all of this stuff, but I'm seeing what you're doing. Okay, Vladimir Klitschko, I want the belts back in the family. When Vitaly retired, they went to Wilder. They said, step aside money. Wilder said, what, $10 million? They said, fuck no, you're not worth that. Go ahead and fight the guy. He goes ahead and he beats the shit out of Bermain Stavern the first time. All of a sudden, Vladimir don't want the goddamn WBC strap no more. What happened? How can I believe what you say when... Same thing with Dillian White. He had all this opportunity to put himself in a position to fight Wilder. He didn't do it. He's screaming 600 days. Motherfucker, we can count, man. That's not 600 days. What are you talking about? I don't even want to get into all of that. How could I believe what you say when I see what you do? Tyson Fury, yeah, I won the first match. Yeah, I boxed the Dozer. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Run it back. Yeah, I'm going to beat the bum. 2 fights later, he's fighting one clown we never even heard of or cared about. And he's getting his eye opened up by some Viking that we didn't even care about. But meanwhile, you watch these clowns on ESPN and these other fans that don't know any better. They'll tell you, oh, Deontay Wilder, Andre Ward, or he don't want none of that. I doubt Deontay Wilder going to want any more of that. He said, right after the fight, Fred asked him, and he said, I want to run it back immediately. I doubt he'll want any more of that. Right? It took this guy 2 fights to say, okay, I'll fight him in a rematch. And then Andre Ward gets on, I forgot what show he was on. He says, I was wrong. Yeah, they do want it again. No, we heard you the first time. You didn't say they want it again. You said Wilder wouldn't want it again, and you was wrong about that. No, we heard you the first time, man. Don't try and flip it. We heard you. We heard what you said, man. I'm so fucking pissed off with Andre Ward. I'm done with Scullamania. This shoe shining Tim Bradley. I'm done with this guy, man.
I'm done with
We heard what you said.
I'm done
with those guys. They upset me to a new level because they're acting like they didn't go through what Wilder's going through now. Difference is Wilder's smiling all through it because he knows the process. He knows the process. These guys, I mean, and I might be taking the conversation somewhere else, but it needs to be said, man. Those guys are really acting like they didn't go through it, man. I remember Tim Bradley saying he was so depressed, he was getting death threats to his house, all because he got a decision victory over Manny Pacquiao. I remember that. And I felt bad for the brother. I rooted for the brother. I'm glad he won. It was a controversial decision, but I said, hey, I'll take it. Because the pack toss was getting on my damn nerves. I said, hey, I'll take it. I'm fine with it. But goddamn, he's acting like they forgot what it was like. And it was unjust. You know, sometimes you got to remain on code, man. And I ain't got to be fair with none of these clowns because they're not fair with me. I go through it on Facebook every day. I go through it on Instagram every day. They make it a national thing, a nationalist thing. They do that. Ride or die, the Mexicans ride with the Mexicans. Ride or die, the Puerto Ricans ride with the Puerto Ricans. Ride or die, the UK rides with the UK. And guess what? That's absolutely fine. But when I ride for someone that's the same complexion as me, don't fucking tell me that I'm being biased just because you're calling me a fucking racist.
Well, let's take this off of that, what you said, and let's get some other brothers in on this conversation. But I want to, he's exhibiting something during his reign that a lot of fighters across the sport in various divisions, including the heavyweight division that are not champion, are not exhibiting. Courage. That is something that he is exhibiting, and you're not seeing it in a sport where it is a requisite, because you cannot have complete success without that sense of wanting to meet challenges and challenge yourself, so to speak. It's very important. And I want to bring some old people in on that conversation about the courage of Deontay
maybe
Wilder.
Maybe having some technical difficulties.
Yeah,
we're good.
Okay.
We're good. Let's talk about that courage, though. Let's talk about that courage. And I want to bring Reggie. Deontay Wilder has exhibited in his title reign, and as opposed to what you're seeing around the rest of the sport, including the heavyweight division as well. What do you have to say about his courage? You there, Reggie? Or are you on mute? Oh, he fell off. Okay, he's back. Reggie, you there?
No, he's on mute. Reggie's on mute.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was having difficulty. Okay. Yeah, his courage, man. He's exemplified every word in the definition of what courage means. I mean, he's calling for everyone. The rest of these guys are being exposed as the opposite of courage. The ones who run away from stepping into that battlefield with him. Even Tyson Fury. A lot of people are praising Tyson Fury for getting back in the ring with him. I can't give Tyson Fury full credit as far as being courageous because of what he did. Not going right into that fight, making these other maneuvers. And now he has no other choice but going back in here. I don't see too many people with heart. The other guy who showed courage in this division has been Luis Ortiz. Who else do I see out there showing courage? I can't say Dillian White because he's calling them. I don't see too many people displaying it, but for Deontay Wilder, 100% courage. Man, willing to lay anything on the line when it comes down to the sport. Ain't ducking, dodging nobody. Looking to get in there with the best and encouraging other fighters who've kind of started to kind of backtrack in their careers to get in shape, get in position where they're their best man, and he wanted to get in the ring with them. But when it comes to that topic of courage, this guy is the poster child of the word. So I got nothing negative to say. The other fighters out there, there's many of these other heavyweights out there who show a great deal of cowardice when it comes to this game. But Wilder, I got no knocks on them. But that's all I got.
Okay, Brooklyn, what do you have to say about the courage that Deontay has exhibited in his title run, in his title reign? I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, man. Deontay Wilder. He's walking out here like a G, man. You know what I'm saying? He wants all the smoke. You know what I mean? He calling out for the best. And it's like, yo, who wants to work? You know what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder, I've always said this, he's the best, to me, he's the best representation of the sport. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like dude, but sometimes people say, oh, Canelo, whatever. Like, bro, Canelo's not a great representation of the sport to me. You know what I'm saying? Deontay Wilder is the one that's the best representative of the sport. And boxing would benefit if Deontay Wilder was the the boxing would benefit if he's the face of the sport. The whole sport would benefit for him being the face of the sport, and I feel he is the face of the sport. Other people don't want to give him that credit, but is he the face of the sport? Absolutely. So as far as his courage. I mean, just him going back in there with Luis Ortiz is some courageous shit because, it would be completely understandable if he didn't fight him a second time. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, these people on this YouTube, a lot of these clowns out here, they want to discredit the man, and the only reason why they discrediting Luis Ortiz is because he's fighting Wilder. You know what I'm saying? If Luis Ortiz fought, some of these other guys, they wouldn't be downgrading him the way he is. You know what I'm saying? But Luis Ortiz, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, he's without question a top 3 heavyweight. To me, he's the second best heavyweight. I truly feel he's the second best heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Luis Ortiz is the guy, honestly, in this whole heavyweight division is going to give him the toughest matchup. And he beat him twice. He knocked him out twice. Just going back with Luis Ortiz is some courageous shit. You know what I'm saying? Because Luis Ortiz, that's a bad motherfucker, bro. You know what I mean? That's a bad man, bro. But, salute to Deontay Wilder, man. That's all I got.
Okay. I haven't heard from Tyrone in a while. Tyrone, what kind of impression has Deontay left upon you regarding his courage and how he's exhibited his courage in his title reign?
Best heavyweight on the planet, or none right now, if I were to sum it up. I mean, once he makes this statement Saturday night, nobody could really say anything after that. And I think the rest of the people, if they weren't running fast now, they'll be, taking a spaceship because he's going to have a long reign. We're looking at, I told Brooklyn this, and you guys probably agree, this is the Larry Holmes. This is the new Larry Holmes. So for me, he's the best one out there right now, bar none.
Okay, that's pretty good class. You putting him up there with Larry, man. It's with the exception of he he sleeps people, where Larry mostly, you know, he won in a variety of ways. But that's a heck of a compliment. D-Style, we haven't heard from you in a minute, brother. I know, and you have a vast background in the covering boxing and everything. As far as your thoughts about Deontay and the courage that he has exhibited during his title reign, looking to, you know, face all comers or whatever. But how does he impress upon you?
Look, as I could think back about, let's go 10 years ago, right? Even before that, I remember when people would say, man, you know what would bring boxing back? You know, if only we had a heavyweight champion of the world from America that was knocking everybody out, that would bring boxing back. That would be everything boxing needs. That's all we need. That would kill UFC and blah, 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 blah. And I don't mean blah, 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 that's not true. That was just a lot of lip service from a lot of boxing fans that just didn't want to appreciate what we did have at the time, which was, you know, like a Mayweather and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Deontay Wilder is trying to face everyone out there, all right? And that's you cannot. Anyone who goes out of their way to criticize Deontay Wilder, all right, meaning out of your way to discredit anything this man's done, all right, you're either a troll, all right, and you're a closet Wilder fan, right, or you have just been flat out brainwashed, all right, and whether it's by Eddie Hearn or whatever the case is, this is everything that America as apple pie asked for in terms of what we need for the heavyweight division. It's here. We have an American who's knocking everybody out. He has knockout power. All his fights are exciting. I just don't understand what there's not to like, right? But that's all I really have to say about that.
Yeah, the thing about it is we're kind of old enough to remember an era when these fighters met challenges head on, you know, and the only time that they may not is if they were kind of aging out and they figured, like, you know, I'll leave that guy for another era or something because they're on their way out the door. But for the most part, the aspect of boxing that has transitioned is that a lot of the great fights, these guys fought in their 20s. Okay? Larry Holmes, I believe, won the heavyweight championship from Ken Norton when he was either 28, 29, something like that. And when he fought Ali, I think he was 30, 31, something like that. So Larry was kind of like a little older, you know, starting out, but still young enough where he reigned for 7.5 years. And he cleaned out the division. You know, he fought a who's who. And that was always impressive when you had fighters like he and Marvin Hagler, and they would clean out the divisions. Even Tommy Hearns to a certain degree. But today, these young guys are going beyond their primes, and they're not even facing, like, what is Fury, 30, something like that. I know he's younger than Wilder, maybe 30, 31. But look at who he's fought prior to Klitschko, because Klitschko was the real name on his record for fighting someone of status, right? But why hasn't Fury taken on a guy like Ortiz, huh? It's like, or some more of the American fighters who could, why he hasn't taken on a Dominique Brazil or someone like that, you know? You're waiting and playing this game, stalling things out and trying to get a great payday and in the same time salvage a record, which that record really don't mean anything, because people will respect you more if you fought more named fighters and had losses. At least you faced them. Okay? It's like, but you're fighting these guys, those men that they got from the Caucasus Mountains in these last couple of fights that he had before now facing Wilder again and looking bad facing them. And the thing about it is, people are like, so what? You know? But they respect you more if you went out and fought somebody. So that courage doesn't apply to these people like that. And all these antics, the stuff he pulls, like this photo we got up here, he looks like the Unabomber, right? That's not cool. That's not a good image. Because if you remember who the Unabomber was and what he did, that's not a good look. Whoever let him come out looking like that, the American people should be pissed on that alone. They're going to be really pissed when they see his performance. You understand? But this right here, the look and the performance that come, he'll be lucky. He talking about he living in Vegas now, this is home or whatever. They're going to send him back home, all right. Because it's like this kind of stuff don't fly. Deontay Wilder has so much more. And the people don't want to embrace it because he's a dark man. Okay? That's just going to say it. He's a dark man. They don't want to get behind that. But that's even more reason why he's having the success that he has. Because people don't understand how karma works. Huh? America thought it was number one, right? For so long and everything. Look who you got in the White House. That's number one stuff right there, right? See?
They'll tell Deontay Wilder to go back to Africa, but before they'll tell Tyson Fury to go back to England.
That is very true. Unfortunately.
You know, this is just a sad state of affairs, man.
Very true.
It's a sad state of affairs, man. This is just fucking horrible. You know, how we don't celebrate this guy. You know, but you know, down the road when he's hung it up, you know, 20 years, they'll be like, yeah, you know, this guy, he was good, man. He was really, really good, underappreciated. And while we'll be sitting back talking about I told you so, the haters will be like, oh, well, you know, I guess he was pretty good. You know, Floyd don't stay away from the ring long enough for people to say how good he was in the ring and how he's changed the game. And he as far as the fight game is concerned, you know, but he won't go away long enough for that. His ego won't permit that, you know, but that's another topic again. But, you know, Wilder's giving us everything that we said that we wanted. But it's like people are looking for more reasons to hate the guy than to love the guy. I mean, really think about it, man. Why is this guy hated? Really think about it. Really ask someone, you know, I can't stand Wilder. Why? Are you an AJ fan? They might even say, well, no. Or they might even say, well, who the fuck's AJ? Oh, the guy. Because I'm going to tell you what the word is in New York. Right? You say, yo, who's Anthony Joshua, the boxer? You know what these motherfuckers say? Oh, the dude from England that got knocked out by that fat kid? That's how he's known out here. I'm being serious. Oh, the dude that lost to that fat kid? It's so disrespectful. It is so disrespectful. Oh, the dude that lost to that fat Puerto Rican? No, he was Mexican. Oh, but the fat kid, though. Yeah, him. Y'all said he was good. Y'all said, well, I ain't say nothing. I said that they said he was the man. Well, he got dropped. Well, okay. Who's Deontay Wilder? Oh, he's that tall, skinny kid that knocked everybody out. If they don't know boxing, they know that. So why is this guy hated? I don't know. They don't know.
Because he's a threat. That's why he's hated.
Yeah. And I'll add this, Drew. This is probably the biggest personification of a people's champion we've had since Muhammad Ali as a heavyweight champion. Because Foreman, Norton, Holmes, Tyson, Spinks, and everyone who has come through that pipeline since have never carried that mantle like Deontay's carrying it since Ali. He speaks from the heart. He doesn't tap or bow for anybody. And he's respected. Even though these people don't like him, he's still respected. But it's coming from here. His aura is real. All you got to do is talk to them people from his hometown, where he come from. He's about as real as he can get. And in mass, they still don't want to respect and love him because of his color or whatever. I want to take a moment to acknowledge we had Kurt Sugar join us. What's going on with you, Kurt? We are talking up everything Fury and Wilder this evening, or I should say Wilder and Fury this evening. Don't want to be disrespectful to the champ. How you doing, brother? And you can just join on in if there's anything you have to offer up, anything at all. We're just talking about the fight for tomorrow and the personalities in the fight.
Yeah, I got on late. I was with the missus, Friday night. We usually have a couple sessions, but, I'm looking forward for tomorrow's fight, I should say. Peace to the chat. We got Brooklyn Child Boxing, D-Style, Drew, Titan, my brother Reggie Owens, my brother, everybody's family, and Tyrone, so peace to everybody. Yeah, I've been thinking about this fight, I would be surprised if Deontay Wilder win. I like looking at it on both sides. I don't, favor one fighter over the other because of color or whatever, religion, anything, because Fury can beat Wilder too. My concern about Wilder, he has to know what's on the line, because if he loses tomorrow, then his whole career going to go kaput. You could throw that he's the hardest hitting heavyweight, in history out the window. It's funny how you can dominate and then a very important fight you lose. Your whole career would have been forgotten. Like Larry Holmes, if you would have lost to Jerry Cooney, Larry would have been like, we would have threw tomatoes at Larry. Certain fights you have to win. Joe Lewis and Max Schmeling, because of the political ramifications. This is country and country and black and white. Nobody will talk about it, but, it's certain elements. It's a perfect fight. Two undefeated fighters in their prime, two black and white, and, United States and UK. You can't write this. It's like a movie script, and there's a high interest. You see how Wilder was getting booed. That's personal, in his own country. So I told my friends, I said, well, they booed Floyd too, the Hatton fans, and he ended on his stomach and back. So it don't really matter. I don't know what about American fight fans. We're very strange and funny, because it takes a special fighter for the whole, fan base to latch on to. Like we latched on to Ali, Leonard, but it's just different how other fighters, can have a fan base. But us, it's a different kettle of fish. We didn't latch on to Larry Holmes. We hated Larry Holmes because of what he did to Ali. He was never able to live that down. Boxing is in a funny place. Boxing is not dead because you saw the weigh-in. We have a lot of fighters. I don't think we have a face of boxing. And some people disagree with me. Some people say Canelo. Some people say Wilder. They're very popular fighters. But to me, my scale is different. The face of boxing is a Leonard, Ali, Tyson. And people forget how big they were. When Tyson fought, the neighborhood pizza store used to sell out pizza. So that's how popular he was. When you can be on Johnny Carson's show and Dean Martin Rose and Bob Hope special, I'm showing my age now, but that's the face of boxing. But I enjoy the popular fighters. I enjoy Wilder. I enjoy Canelo because I like to see fan bases stand behind their guy. Mexican fan base, the Canadian fan base is very underrated. If guys notice when there's a fight in Canada, the crowd is always in a uproar. We never talk about their fan base. but that stadium be rocking, man. You know, in Canada, Polish too, because I lived 2 blocks away from the Prudential Center, you know, when it was first built. And Thomas Adamak used to fight there, and he had a crazy fan base, you know, but I like Fury. I like Wilder tomorrow in 9 rounds, but he has to be relaxed. He has to get close and shorten up the right hand. Aim it at his chest. You aim it at a fighter's chest, you hit the chin. You know, Fury got up because if that fight was a little lower on the sweet spot, we say in the gym, which is the chin, he wouldn't have got up, you know, but the weight, you know, helped him, of course. You know, Fury could win this fight too by boxing, you know, but people don't talk about the athleticism and the agility of Wilder. So it's just not the power. It's many things. And Fury being 6'9", move very well, but you neutralize that by going to the body. The body doesn't go anywhere. You know, he moves his upper body like a James Toney, you know, Canelo, they move their upper body a lot. Their feet stay there. So, you know, it's up to Breland and Dees to see that. And your trainer, this is the type of fight that trainers are going to win it for him. If Fury win, you could think Sugarhead. If Wilder win, you could think, you know, Breland and Dees. Because if I could break down fights from my living room couch, they should be able to do it. They supposed to be professionals. Even though I trained fighters before, but I can see with, you know, if you get close to Fury and back him up and go to his body, you will have success. Wallin has success because he stayed close to Fury. That's the key. You know, and with Wilder's height, you know, he should stay close to him. You know, don't smother your own work, but, you know, Wilder's quick enough to get off punches. You know, that's what I would do. I will fight Fury like that. You know, and Fury, I will move to my left, you know, and throw a combination. I will move away from the right hand and move constantly to my left and jab, you know. But we'll see tomorrow, man. I don't want to take too long, you know, but I'm just looking forward to the fight. It should be a good fight, but I still have Wilder 9.
I want to go through the panel real quick and ask everybody, what do they think about the fact that Wilder has finally come in at a heavier weight, which may be more impactful on his performance and against the opponent. Reggie, we haven't had you in a moment. What do you think about that extra weight that he's put on?
I think it's good. It'll put a little bit of weight behind the power he already. And the other thing, like, because people use that same question and flip it. And that's the misconception people get when it comes to weight and strength. Just because he's adding on this additional mass doesn't mean that he's a stronger fighter. Strength and weight are 2 different things. I still think Wilder's the more just as physically strong as wrestling match when it comes to delivery of punch power. That goes right to Wilder. So being that this is a stand-up fight game, Wilder's definitely going to have enough weight behind him along with the velocity and power and impact on his punch that if he touches Tyson Fury, he's not getting back up. And even if he touches Tyson Fury where that eye is guard up at, it's popping back open, which may draw them to having to stop this fight. But I think it's solid weight where Wilder is most optimal at. This is like an optimal weight for Wilder. You see how leaned out he was. It's not bad weight, and that's what people want to see. That's why people wanted Tyson Fury to take off the shirt to see, because it ain't all about physique all the time, but sometimes the physique will show what type of work a person is putting in, and Fury's definitely in there a little bit sloppy and flabby to where I don't think he put in the real work in this training camp. He didn't put in work. He revealed there were some early injuries. He tried to say it was a training. Well, this training camp is early as hell because he went right into this camp, in the month of January. So he didn't have that much time to heal when people seen him limping. So that injury from your limp had to take time. So he revealed that. Then Wilder revealing that his cut opened up because he End up doing some sparring, got it cut. But this weight and power that Wilder's going to deliver on him is definitely going to be a good thing for Wilder. I think Wilder's a stronger guy, regardless of how much Tyson Fury weights. It doesn't mean anything because he's a heavy guy. I've seen smaller guys who are physically stronger than guys with more weight on them. Sometimes people carry weight that ain't good. So Wilder has very good weight on him. It's muscular weight, solid, leaned out muscular weight. So yeah, I think it's good. But Wilder has to pay some stuff too because he runs into some cardio issues at points as well.
Okay, Tyrone, haven't heard you in a little bit. What do you think about the extra weight that Wilder has put on for this fight, as well as Fury? Give us your comments and thoughts about that.
Well, with Fury's extra weight, I'm right on with Reggie's points, man. I think Fury's extra weight is just flab, and it seems he hasn't been training as hard. But with Wilder, like Reggie said, it's quality weight, it's strong weight. And we saw when he came in heavier against Brazil, how two fights really stick out to me about Wilder's natural strength. And both fights, he showed it when he was around 220, 230. First one was Washington. You remember early in that Washington fight, they got into a clinch. Several times he was out muscling Washington in the clinch. But in one clinch, you can go back and see it, he literally picked Washington up off the floor, put him on his back, and threw him off him. See, athlete, muscle bound, 250 pounds, 6'6", heavyweight boxer. So I think this quality weight, it'll just create for a devastating performance Saturday night. I really do.
Yeah, interesting. D-Style, what do you have to say about the weights that both fighters have put on for this match? I think they both put on 17 pounds each, I think it was said.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, Fury came in at 273, I believe. Wilder 231, I believe. I think I got those numbers right. But Fury, he's saying that he put on that weight so he could come at Wilder and try to knock him out. I don't know about that. You know what I mean? I don't know how to feel about that. And look, something Curtis Anderson said is true. Can Fury win this fight? Yes, but he's going to have, in my opinion, the fight of his life here, especially at this weight. I don't know if he could go a full 12, fully focused, and have the energy to survive 12 rounds with Deontay Wilder at this weight. Okay, I could always be wrong. Maybe there's something they know, but I think Wilder coming in heavier is quality weight. I can't say if this is optimum weight or not. I have no idea. I think around the 220s, Wilder looks perfectly fine. But if anyone knows better, it's them. I mean, it's their training camp. He should know his body. I'm sure he'll feel. I don't think it's going to play a role in the fight. I just don't know if moving forward, if this is the weight he's going to stay at. I think it should depend on the opponent. But it's going to work out for him because of Fury coming in a little too heavy. If Fury tries to maul him like he did Cunningham, he'll be able to match him in strength and stuff like that. I don't know if there was some spies or something going on. Happens sometimes in boxing, and they kind of knew Fury was a little up there in weight. But in the end, I think it's in this particular fight, it's going to work out for him. He has fought him before, so maybe they realize, you know what, we put on a little more muscle mass here. We'll be able to match him in strength, and we will see. I'm not sure. I don't think it's not affecting my decision and all that and how I'm going to see this fight. I do got to get going, but I just want to let people know that my official prediction, Fury is going down in 3. Now, with that said, let's say that the fight goes on and he survives round 3. D-Style was wrong. If Fury looks pretty good after around 6 rounds and he doesn't look tired, he's not getting fatigued, and Wilder's not touching the body, it might turn into a long night. Not saying ultimately Fury would win, but it could be a long night for Deontay Wilder. He has to go to the body, especially if Fury doesn't go out early. And that's all I got to say about that.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you stopping by, bro. And, this was episode number 50. So you came out for my 50th. Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, man. Peace out.
Peace, man. Brooklyn, what do you think about the weights that the guys have put on? And how do you see it affecting the fight if you see it affecting?
I mean, I think it's really telling. I mean, now, first off, like, that's why, like, personally, I didn't like upload a video yet as far as like my, breakdown and prediction and all that, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to see the weights, the weigh-ins, Wilder, and both guys were true to their word. Wilder, I remember when there was like a media scrum and they asked Wilder, hey, how much you weigh? How do you see yourself? Where you see yourself coming in at? And he said, I'm about 230. I'm like 230. He's always, because we so used to Wilder coming in at like 219, 212. Like, he's always coming in light. So when I heard 230, I was taken back. I'm like, oh, we're at 230. And then when Fury talking about, I'm gonna try to come in at I'm gonna come in at 270. I'm like, 270? Like, you were 270 against Sefer Fury. And if you ask me, he looked very sloppy in that fight. You know what I mean? So they both stayed true to their word. Now, as far as how it will affect the fight, as far as Wilder goes, I think it's awesome for Wilder, because in the last when in Fury Wilder Fury won, I was kind of taken back when the official weigh-in was 212. I was like, 212? Why you coming in so like in the back of my mind? I'm like, yo, why you coming in so light, bro? You a heavyweight, man. You don't like come. You can come. You are optimal. You are great at like between 220, 225. I'm thinking myself. I was confused. Like, why are you coming in at 212? So when I saw 230, I'm like, yes, that's a great weight for Wilder, because, and then also too, when you look at him physically, man, the guy's a specimen. The specimen, man. He had a six-pack. Like he looked lean and fit and strong. You know what I mean? And it goes back to that press conference, the final press conference, when he took Fury and pushed him like kind of far. You know what I mean? And then, okay, yeah, Fury came back and gave him a little nudge or whatever, but like, Wilder at 230, he is very strong. And this is another thing with Wilder that people underestimate, his strength. Like, just his physical strength is something amazing. Like, I left the super chat for 78. And I mentioned this because now, I mean, I'm sure we're gonna get to like tactics of how the fight's gonna go, but I left a super chat for 78, and people are really sleeping on Wilder on the inside. And I'm like, now, of course, Duhaupas is not Tyson Fury or whatever. But if you watch that fight, if you remember that fight, and I watched the whole fight earlier today, man, Deontay Wilder was doing some excellent work on that inside. Deontay Wilder was pushing him back. He was chest to chest, throwing uppercuts, throwing short hooks, and I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And people really think that, like, yo, Wilder, you just smother him and that's it. I'm like, okay, no problem. If Fury wants to go in there and fight him on that inside, Fury's gonna have a thing coming to him, because Wilder is very strong. And one thing real quick, and because I was looking at the weigh-ins from his previous fights, Wilder came in against Duhaupas at 228. He came in, you know what I'm saying? So like that's a optimal weight for this man. You know what I mean? And I think it's great for Wilder, and I think it's gonna be trouble for Fury. And then also too, with Fury, him coming in at 270, okay, you want to come in at 270, so that means there's a higher probability, if you ask me, that he's gonna tire out faster, and he's gonna be a more still target because Fury was doing a lot of movement in the first fight because he was lighter and actually he was more fit. But to me, if you ask me, he's not as fit as he was in that fight. You know what I mean? So it's great for Wilder, man. Him at 230, I think is deadly. But that's all I got.
All right. So, Kurt, did we get your thought about the weights and where they, where they have arrived and how that may impress upon their performances in the fight?
Well, weight is very important. It depends how you pack it on, and being muscled. Like Evander Holyfield did it right. Mike Weave and George Foreman, they were natural. They didn't have to force anything. And Deontay Wilder has the frame, so, he's lean. 230, is good. 225, 230, 230 is good. I can tell, he looks good with it. A Fury, must be serious, because 270 something, that's a lot. That's a lot. And he may be even heavy when the bell rings, because they always eat a big meal, pre-fight meal, But, Wilder, he has to correct some things too. This is not a gimme fight for Wilder. It's not. No fight is a gimme, especially this one. There's a lot of energy. It's a big fight. One of the biggest heavyweight fights in years. Wilder makes a mistake when Fury comes forward. He did it the last fight. When Fury comes towards him, he goes straight back. And Fury, most of the, miraculously when he got up from that knockdown. Because instead of moving straight back, and when Fury comes to him, he has to move on an angle because he was getting hit with what you call tail end punches. So when he backs up with the high guard, because Spence does that too. They both do that. There's a bad habit. Go off on an angle. Don't back straight up. You have the footwork for it. So I hope his corner picked up on that. Go to the left, go to the right, give him an angle. Don't go straight back when Fury come towards you. Don't do that. But like I said, this is the type of fight, a rematch where, the corner is going to earn their keep, and like I said, I will stay close to Fury, and, go to their body. That left hook is very key because, Wilder can make this fight easier and every fight after this one by concealing the right hand. That's why Tommy Hearn had so many devastating knockouts throughout his career, from welterweight to cruiserweight. And they're similar in that way because they got, the one-hitter quitter. So to conceal that right hand, you have to develop a left hook and jab, a double jab. Try to blind him with the jab. If the cut opens, good. If it don't, sometimes things like that don't happen. The unexpected happens, but, don't make this fight harder than what it's supposed to be. Wilder, weight is good. Fury a little heavy, but maybe he's very serious about being the aggressor, But I'm looking forward to it. I think 230 is good because when a guy weighs 275, you want to have what I call insurance. That means extra weight to combat and to counteract how much weight your opponent is weighing. So, but weight, like Marvin Hagler and Bernard Hopkins, they always kept a steady weight, and it helps you to perform better. Now, after the 7th round, if he's still here and Fury doesn't get tired, I'll be very surprised. I really would be. But see, that's where the body shots are key. So, I think the weight for Wilder is better than what Fury's weighing, 273 or whatever.
Okay. Drew, what do you have to say about the weights of the fighters and how you see it affecting or having an impact on the fight for either guy?
Well, let me read to you something that I was having a discussion with a friend of mine on Facebook. He believes, well, let me just read it. He says, Wilder above 226, the the 4 times he weighed that was outpointed by men he should have decimated. Men who Fury is much more skilled. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And just overall better than he is now, the heaviest he's ever been, blah, 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 blah. Now, I said to him, so if weight isn't an issue for either guy, let's go to the next thing. Fury said Cunningham was his toughest fight. And I said, wow, listen. If weight is not the issue, okay, then what are we really talking about here? I don't think that in this amount of time that Fury put on good weight. I'm very familiar with weight gaining and weight loss. I'm very familiar at it. Okay. And in boxing, this isn't bodybuilding. That's different. This is boxing, man. And the type of weight that he's gained, these guys are professionals, but I'm not too sure if he gained the correct amount of weight where he can maintain stamina. Now, he might be telling the truth going into the ring and second round trying to stop Wilder, but that involves him getting inside the kill zone. And he's putting himself at serious risk right now if he does that. And I agree with Kurt. If he's around after 6, because I picked Wilder to knock him out between 1 and 6. But if he's around by the 7th, I don't know if the weight is going to help him, because he's going to be carried around 270 pounds, man. And plus, they're talking about he had a bad foot. Come on, man. I mean, let's look at this logically. How on earth is being 270 pounds, gaining fast weight on a bad ankle? How is that going to help you, man? How's it going to help you? Now, Wilder, however, we've seen him without his shirt. He don't have no love handles. This is his natural build. He has a build where you kind of have to really be up on him to understand to see whether he's in the 220s or in the 208 or 212. Listen, man, when I was having that conversation with my buddy on Facebook, I said to him, listen. He was outpointed. Wilder we're talking about. He was outpointed by guys when he was weighing in the high 220s. But here was my question to him. Those guys that outpointed him, what round did he knock them out in? What round was it that he knocked them out? Because I know they didn't make it. You get what I'm saying? In other words, my point is it didn't really matter. Now, Fury has a lot of skill. But like we was talking about earlier, the guy's chin is completely and totally suspect. So if we want to throw weight out the window, let's throw it all the way out the window and just work in. I don't care how tall he is. Now, again, these guys are professional athletes. They're the ones in the camp, and I guess, Tyson Fury knows his body better than anybody. Okay, but 270 pounds is too much weight. And we see how Fury's built. He's not built like a bodybuilder. All right, we've seen him super fat and out of shape. 270 in that short amount of time on a bad foot. Okay, if he's around after round 6, it's only going to harm him. No. I've been above 270 and playing basketball. And I've been 250 playing basketball. I'm now 220 playing basketball. And you feel a lot better, lighter, when you're playing a cardiovascular sport, especially in boxing when you're throwing your hands. Okay, all that, even that fainting he does is gonna exert some sort of energy. So no, this is a bad idea. The weight on Fury's, if you could go up 17 pounds and I can still see a 6-pack, you're in shape, man. Now, when has Fury ever had a 6-pack? Never. That's just his build. But 270, man? No. What I'm looking for, to be honest, man, is an excuse. After he gets obliterated, I'm looking for him to say, okay, I gained weight in the camp. That's the truth. And I couldn't really do my cardio because I had a bad foot. And that will be the excuse riding into the trilogy. But I don't think he's going to want a trilogy based off of how bad this knockout is going to look later on today. So the weight gain is a bad idea because I don't think Fury gained good weight. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Wilder's weight to his frame, he looks more relaxed. But like Kirk said, this is a defining fight. I don't think he should play with him, but I don't think he's going to play with him. Wilder's going to try and get him out of there. I think Wilder's going to fight smart. He's going to let him get into the kill zone and try and knock him out. Really, really tough in round 2. But if he's around, I pick in 6. But if he's around after 6, that weight's going to really, really, really hurt Fury. It's going to hurt him, man. But Wilder's good. And I'm not saying that being biased. I really don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. But, you know, I'm just looking at it logically. Wilder looks great at this weight. He's looked great at this weight. When have we seen Wilder out of shape? Then when have we seen Fury out of shape? You see, these are the things. I'm just looking at the track record. 270 is too heavy, man. 270 is too heavy. And it's going to if he's around after 6, it's going to tell the tale. And that's all I got.
All right. The next question I want to ask everybody, we can go through starting with Brooklyn. Want to get your thoughts on how you basically see the fight shaping up, you know, and give your prediction, because we'll be closing it out after this. But want to start with Brooklyn. How do you see the fight shaking out, and your final predictions on it?
For sure, man. First off, man, I got Wilder by knockout. Wilder knockout by like round 4. You know what I mean? I truly believe Fury is gonna try to implement some. He's gonna try to, like, how can I say this? He's gonna try to out muscle Wilder, like try to impose his size. And well, for him to come in at 270, that's like, to me, that's like the most logical thing to say. That's probably what he's gonna do. But I think Fury's gonna be surprised on how strong Wilder is on the inside, and especially with him coming in at 230, you know. And again, you know, I look back at that Duhaupas fight, some of that inside work he was doing, man. These people in this boxing shit, bro, like these quote unquote experts that talks in this mainstream on mainstream television, whenever they just want to say, oh, Wilder has he only has a right hand, as if you fucking tying his as if his left hand is tied behind his back or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm literally watching Deontay Wilder back a guy up, throw uppercuts, throw hooks, chest to chest, banging it out. And I'm thinking to myself, Fury's going to be in trouble. You know what I mean? The left side is going to be, I think I hear echo. The left side is going to be critical as well, because there are going to be points where the fight is not just going to be inside. It's going to be in like the mid and long range. You know, I see Wilder being more educated with his jab, doubling up the jab at times, feinting. That's another thing, feinting. You know, throwing strong jabs, throw quick double jabs, pawing jabs. Like, I really feel he's going to kind of confuse. Like, he's going to really have Tyson Fury thinking. You know what I'm saying? This is what I see. And then also, too, if you see in the Ortiz fight, Wilder was throwing some mean left hooks that really hurt Luis Ortiz, and he didn't get credit for those left hooks. The commentators didn't acknowledge those left hooks that he threw at Luis Ortiz, but those left hooks was hurting. You know what I mean? So I see Wilder hitting them with left hooks, running in the inside, hitting them with uppercuts. You know, when Fury's going to be trying to turn left or whatever, he's going to be popping them with the jab. You know, I feel like anything that Fury does, Wilder's going to combat with something. And then Wilder's going to line him up with a beautiful, you know, right hand. I think he's going to get the Spilka treatment. I think he's going to be laid out like bad. You know, I can see Fury trying to close the distance, similar to Arthur Spilka. Wilder's going to time him, and it's all she wrote. I see Wilder 4th round. That's all I got.
All right. Much respect there. G Funky 84 is out there in the chat. He wanted to be a part of the show, but he was running around a little earlier. and he asked could he still get in. I can let him come on in to make his prediction on the fight and drop something. But in the meantime, if he's getting himself together to come in, Tyrone, how do you see the fight shaping out? And what's your final prediction on it?
I'll start with this. Probably a point I forgot to make. People saying the first fight, Fury won 10-2, and he was outboxing him in this. Well, I have the punch stats of Wilder's last 3 notable fights. I'm not including the Brazil fight because that, he sent him into outer space. But Wilder Ortiz won. Wilder landed a total of, Wilder landed 98 punches versus Ortiz 87 punches. Wilder Ortiz 2. Wilder landed 34 punches versus Ortiz 35 punches. And Wilder Fury 1, 71 punches for Wilder versus 84 for Fury. So my definition of outboxing somebody is one of 2 things. You either land way more shots than the other person, like way more, or you land way more significant shots, harder shots than the other person. So these fights that they're saying that Wilder's behind on the cards in and he's losing to these guys is just lies. I mean, there's not much in these fights. Guys aren't even, landing 100 shots on Wilder total. There's not much in it, and he controls the pace with his power. So, and he's always done better than rematch. So I think he hasn't figured out, and I think it'll end soon. I'm picking Wilder in 5. I think he's going to get him hurt with a straight right and finish the job up this time. It'll just be a statement.
That's a pretty nice breakdown there, Tyrone, because when you talk about those punch stats, how many punches are actually landing on Wilder during a fight where a person might appear to be a bit busier, definitely, but when you assess what is really damaging, what is he really catching? Are people going to his body? Are they doing things? Excuse me. So that's a nice observation right there, and something that none of us have brought into the conversation thus far. So salute to you for that. I want to take a moment and acknowledge G Funky 84 has joined us. G Funk, sorry you had to come in late, bro, but let us know what you think about tomorrow night's fight, how you see it shaping out, and give us your thoughts. You got the floor. Welcome.
All right, man. You guys hear me?
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for having me on, Stormy. I apologize for being late, but had a little running around to do. But I was listening, when I had a chance to, and I think everybody's doing a good job of breaking down the fight and stuff. But I can't see it ending any other way than a Wilder knockout, man. He's gonna knock out Fury tomorrow. I think that him coming in this heavy, and him, he keeps talking about, I'm coming for the knockout. I think that's why they added extra weight, obviously for more weight behind the shots, more punch resistance. But, the same can be said for Wilder. Now that he's a little bit heavier, he'll be able to take shots better, and his right hand's going to be coming heavier as well. But I think that Tyson Fury, I don't know, man. I don't see him being able to win a dog fight like that against Wilder. I just don't see it. If he couldn't beat him the first time with the movement and, all the feinting and the up and down head movement and stuff like that, then I don't think he's going to beat him the other way, man. Honestly, I think he would have benefited from just trying to do what he did the first time, but maybe a little bit better. He's going for broke, I guess. He keeps talking about possibly retiring if he doesn't win, or if he does win, retiring after his contract's up with ESPN. So maybe he's just said, hey, I'm going for broke here, man. It's either I get him or he gets me. But I think if it's that type of fight, I'm going with Wilder, man. I think he's made some nice adjustments from that first fight. I see a left hook landing to the body, that the same one that he was landing on Ortiz. That could possibly hurt Fury, put him out. And if it doesn't, it opens up that right hand, because now he's got to be worried about that left hook going downstairs. So, we've seen Fury hit him with big shots. I did see him hurt Wilder a couple times in the first fight, but Wilder took his best shots, hung in there, as we can't really say the same for Tyson Fury, who got dropped twice and was damn near out in the 12th. So I see nothing but a knockout from Deontay Wilder this Saturday, man, and I can't wait to see it.
All right. That's good stuff. Reggie, what's going on, man? Can you let us know how you see the fight shaping up ultimately, and what's your call on it? Your prediction?
I don't know. Definitely don't see Tyson. I think once he feels the first shot from Wilder, like Ben Davison stated that they felt it, he's going to try to stay away. He's going to try to use some of that. But I just think with his weight, because he's coming in way heavier than that 283, and coming in at this heavier weight, he's going to be limited with how much energy he can expend round by round. And if he decides to go in there and try to use this fleeted type work, which they try to say he's known for, it's going to max him out. That's a lot of blood for that heart to be trying to. And this is ultimately where he screwed up putting on this. And I think this weight, this addition them not hurt himself somewhere. He didn't effed up somewhere. I just see Wilder going in here, fighting an appropriate fight, not overdoing it. He knows what he has, which is what he tells everybody all he needs. So with him having that, just punch down to this dude's body. We're going to see how flabby this fool come in here. Like I say, he's going to look like a soup sandwich, target him to the body, wear him down. And Tyson Fury already is going to leave a lot of open. They speak about his great head movement. He leaves his head quite a bit. His hands are low a ton in these fights. And with Wilder's activity in that first fight, if Wilder would have just sat back, set this dude up with the appropriate left hooks, the appropriate right hooks, appropriate jab, he would have caught Tyson Fury much earlier. He can close the distance. I think he's a better inside fighter, which people speak on Wilder being wild, but when people see Wilder being wild, is the way he looks, being this long, lanky fighter fighting. He's just going to stay busy on this dude, Tyson Fury. The more Tyson to get out the way of punches, it's going to tax him. And how many rounds can he do it for? And let's say he is to survive past where I see it ending is nowhere past round 5. But if it goes past that, it may end up being worse for Tyson Fury, because the later this fight goes, is the more that weight is going to have more of an effect on him, and especially if Wilder is being busy with him. So Wilder's going to have to show some activity in each of these rounds just to work this dude. Make this dude heart, I don't want to say that, but make this dude heart start to fatigue him. Put that heart slow and then go for the kill. And that's just the way I see it. I see it ending in 5.
Okay, that's good. Kurt, how do you see the fight shaping out, and what's your predictions, man?
Well, we have to be very careful Wilder too, because boxing lore, the boxing god, sometimes that right hand is going to be one fight where it's not going to be able to land solid, and you always have to be aware of that. I make comparisons to Tommy Hearns because both fighters had one hit a quitter, but when Tommy couldn't land his right hand, he can go to boxing. He outboxed a lot of people. Harold Weston Jr., Luigi Mancello, you're always going to have an off night. And I'm not saying Wilder's going to have an off night tomorrow. My intuition tells me, he's going to have a good night. I picked him at 9, but he's going to have to from somebody like Fury, he's going to have to break him down by going to the body and jabbing, and backing Fury up. Don't be like the first fight. And, every time Wilder get ready to throw his right hand, he would take a stutter step, and Fury's corner picked up on that. He was overshooting the right hand. But most fighters are like that in their first big super fight. They have a lot of nervous energy. They want to impress. And Deontay Wilder said it. He was very relaxed against Ortiz in the second fight. But you can't be losing 5, 6, and 7 rounds. And then you're going to try to knock him out, even though he has a lot of moxie and savvy. He has a funny way of landing that right hand. But it has to be, you have to, like I said, build blocks for a knockout. Those are the best knockouts. You have to be sharp, and Fury know that right hand is coming. And, he does have a different trainer. Sugar Hill is a good trainer. He can't fight for Fury, but, I'm quite sure he told him, hey, you lean to the opposite side when that right hand comes, so Wilder needs a punch where he can he can use a decoy punch, left hook, double left hook, conceal it, like I said before. Any fight, can go the total opposite way that you expect it to go. Everybody's saying 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, and you depend on Fury being heavy, the weight, but he can come out and fight hard for 12 rounds. I mean, look at Anthony Joshua against Ruiz, man. I'm shocked to this very day that the way he was moving in the 12th round, you would have thought it was the second round of the fight. And we all know Joshua, had stamina issues. What I'm trying to say is that, boxing is a strange sport, man. Expect the unexpected, as I should say. So you can't worry about the cut on his eye. Fury, you can't worry about he's going to get tired. You're going to have to go out there, and take it instead of waiting for something to happen, and I hope Wilder knows the significance of this fight. I mean, he has to win, but at the same time, Fury can win too, but Wilder got a lot of upside, man, too much upside. If you study the tape of Wilding, Wilding had a lot of success putting Fury against the ropes and backing him up. I would be super aggressive, but the jab and the left hook will be the key, not the right hand. We all know what the right hand could do, but you need a secondary and a third type of punch to conceal the one-hit quitter. So I'll be throwing a left hook. So like I said, before I pass it on, this is where the corner, the trainer, assistant trainer, break down film, and their job is to capitalize on the opponent's weakness. So we will see tomorrow, and whoever does that, it will be the victor.
Okay. Drew Titan, what do you think, bro? What are your thoughts on, how the fight's how you see the fight shaping out, and what's your predictions?
Everything that Kurt said was absolutely correct. I agree with it. I think Deontay understands what's at stake here. He understands what's at stake since he won the WBC title. He's very familiar with what's being said about him on social media. He accepts and acknowledges all of the, I'm being nice when I say constructive criticism. Fuck it, let's call it what it is. It's hatred. He acknowledges all of that, and he thrives off of that. He takes lemons and makes lemonade. He understands what's at stake here, and I liked his demeanor at the weigh-in. I liked all the press conferences. I didn't see the same Tyson Fury. He wasn't bouncing around and making all these jokes, and when he did try, they were falling short. Fury knows what he's up against, but I understand what Kurt is saying, because Wilder has more to lose than to gain. Can we imagine if Larry Holmes lost to Jerry Cooney? I mean, what you would have to have gone through as a black person, in the street, in the barbershops, if he had lost. You know what I mean? So that fight, this fight, it's not as extreme, but there's a similar type of aura surrounding this. And I'm not talking about racial. I'm talking about other things. So Wilder has a lot to lose with this fight. In saying that, keys to his victory, of course, it's the body work, but I think he has to close the distance with the jab. And when I say close the distance with the jab, he don't necessarily have to hit Tyson in the face. Just touch him in the biceps, touch him in the chest, the front delts. Because every time you touch a slick fighter with a jab, they got to reset. And they have to have fast feet to reset. If you remember Oscar De La Hoya when he fought Floyd Mayweather could have won that fight. I mean, Oscar could have won that fight, but he abandoned the jab. He completely abandoned the jab, and that's when Floyd pretty much did what he wanted to do with him. Another example is Vernon Forrest and Shane Mosley, the first fight. He stuck a jab in Mosley's chest, and every time he stuck the jab in his chest, Shane had to reset. And when he was trying to reset, he ate a right hand. Every time. I was at that fight. That was at the theater in Madison Square Garden. I was at that fight. I said that jab is going to kill this guy. And that was the first time you actually saw Shane Mosley like get an ass whooping. That was the first time you like seen it. It was like, whoa, because if you remember back then, Mosley was like on top of the world. He was kicking everyone's ass. And Vernon whooped his ass with a jab. All right. I need Deontay to put a jab in his chest. Don't hit the guy in the head. He's too elusive. I mean, and I think after about 3 or 4 rounds of putting a jab in his chest, making him reset and push him back, you're winning right there by landing those jabs. And if you get judges that are not scoring the punches to the delts and to the chest, you're winning the ring generalship by pushing this man back. He's pushing this man back with the jab. And then once he's expecting the jab to get hit in the chest and in the delts, throw that right hand down the pike. Hit him in the throat. Hit him in the bottom of the chin. Make him respect it. And when he tries to lean to his left, throw that right hand, hit him on the shoulder. It's gonna bruise. I mean, hit him in the side of the hip, man. You got to fight. This is boxing, man. That's an old trick that George Foreman used to do, man. He used to hit people in the hips, man. Slow them down. And I want to see that body work. So, in closing, I'll just say I got Deontay Wilder outworking this guy. And I'm being nice by saying TKO in the 6th because I really think here's what I think is going to happen. Round 2, Tyson's going to try and keep his word. And he's going to get buzzed. Round 3, he's going to coast. Round 4, he's going to try it again. And Wilder's going to be too strong for him. He's going to be way too fearful of getting caught with a left hook or a straight right hand anywhere in his body. Round 5, he's going to coast. Round 6, he's going to get caught. I got Wilder knocking this guy out. TKO. Spark, he's not going to beat the count this time. I have way too much confidence in Wilder's abilities. In Wilder, this is he looks happy. If you can understand what I'm saying. He looks happy. He looked like he's about, in his mind, from what I've seen, he says he's already won. Now, again, I'm going to bring up Vernon Forrest and Shane Mosley. After the fight, he said, yo, look, leading up to the fight, I had several dreams. I'd already beat this guy. He beat him twice in the amateurs. He said, yo, this guy's nothing special. You understand? And he said, I already won this fight in my mind. And Wilder has that same aura. He has that same aura. So I'm hyped. And I always get a little nervous before a Wilder fight. But if he's not nervous, and I'm looking at his demeanor, if he's not nervous, I don't need to be nervous. We don't need to be nervous. Because I think that Mark Breland instilled the right game plan with him. I think they notice, especially when you're coming in as a fat ass, all you got to do is work the body. But I think Wilder will close the distance. And if Tyson tries to keep his word and do what he says in round 2, this fight is over in 2 or 3 rounds, like D-Style said. So I got Wilder winning in 6.
Okay. Well, my thoughts are, I think that Deontay Wilder wins, and I think he's going to win in a manner of which nobody saw coming. because that's in the cards for him as he has produced his victories prior to now. They robbed him of his knockout victory in that first fight. That man was knocked out. But that being said, the only thing that they can do is make this man focus more. And if you make a man like him focus more, just remember what he has done prior to now. And you put it together to equate that he does understand what's at stake and what's significant, because I was calling that into question myself prior to Wednesday's press conference. That press conference told me something that I hadn't had the answer for, but I was glad to see the champion become the alpha publicly and vociferously as he did, because we were witnessing him being a soft-spoken, confident person that has had success and let his fist do the talking, so to speak, in the ring. But he spoke up for himself as the king of the sport and the division as he is. So it was great to see that manifest at a most significant time, because this rematch, what's at stake here is the future of the division. Will it be deterred or derailed, or will it continue? And I think it's going to continue. I see if he's able to utilize the left like he did against Luis Ortiz, Tyson Fury's in trouble, because he's looking out for the right. But that left, as I stated earlier in this conversation, is no joke itself. And when the man decides to throw that jab and fire it like he can, which I stated with some other conversation, that all he needs to do is throw about 30 jabs around, he can win the fight with one hand. Fury's jab is nowhere near his, doesn't have the fierceness and the impact that his has, and wouldn't do the damage that his does. And I would think that the eye that was cut by Fury in the past fight should be targeted and should be like hit often. If they fall into clinches, he should be raking it. He should be doing things, mauling him, because these are the kind of things that Fury may try to him anyway, but you got to beat him to the position. I remember Holyfield talking about beating Mike Tyson to the position, and Tyson was complaining that Holyfield was headbutting him, but it was Tyson who initiated a headbutt when they first fought. And then, he complained after that because he wasn't as tough as he thought he was. So, like, Fury's going to try some things, and he's not a tough guy. He tried to be a tough guy in the last fight where he suffered that bad cut, but that was only because he was upset that he was cut. He's a bigger, physically more imposing guy than the opponent that he fought. And the opponent, Otto Wallin, didn't realize that he had a second wind to kick in. And when that second wind finally kicked in like the late 10th, early 11th, he started fighting back on Fury again and had Fury in trouble. So it's like, if Fury couldn't handle that guy, how is he going to handle the heavyweight champion of the world? And the heavyweight champion of the world don't need but a few to put together to put you on your behind. But I think Deontay is going to send him a message. He's going to come out boxing. That jab is going to be like a piston. It's going to be on that eye. It's going to be in that chest. It's going to be in the pit of that big 273-pound belly. Okay? And he's going to bag him and tag him. That's what I think. Now, I had originally said I thought it'd be going 6 rounds. But I say 1 to 6. Because if he nails him good early, he going to take him early. But I don't think that it's going to go anywhere near as long as it went the first time. And I do think that when Fury goes down this time, that's going to be it. And then there's one other situation that was brought to light to me that I hadn't thought about. Fury is a mental case, okay? And Deontay is a very strong and confident man. He has solid family background and everything. And Fury is estranged from his own family. His dad ain't over here with him. His wife ain't here. If the going really gets tough, Fury could possibly crack. Because that's what he's been using. Crack. If he think he's going to come in there and take the heavyweight championship away from Deontay Wilder, he got another thing coming. Okay? And at the end of the day, you can always hang your hat on character and resolve. And Deontay has plenty of that. Fury is a guy who likes to talk a big game and talk a good game and all of that and brag vociferous and he's loud and all of that. But it's really what's underneath the surface. Okay? And he doesn't have very much underneath the surface. He's shown us in the past. He's shown us coming to this weigh-in. He wouldn't take his shirt off. He's letting you know at every waking turn why you should go the other way with him. And the champ recognizes this as well. So when you look at it for what it really is, you can take substance over style any day. Okay? And Deontay ain't going to play with this guy. He's going to go in there and take care of business. That's why he let him know at the press conference. He became alpha at that moment. He snatched Fury's drawers off. Now he's bare butt naked. Okay? And don't nobody like what they see. And he gonna rid us of all of that foolishness. And we gonna go on down and get some more title defenses. That's what I got to say about that.
Go break down Stormy. I ain't gonna talk. I'm just gonna sign off a little bit, and I'll catch you tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow's fight, man, and can't wait, man. Boxing, you just never know. But my gut tells me Wilder, like he's gonna be patient, and that's the key. Unlike before, swinging wildly, willing away, but I think he's going to be a lot more patient and he's going to build blocks. I got confidence in Wilder and I like him at 9, man. I just want to thank the chat. Thank you for having me on, man. And I'm an old man, so I got to get some rest. Thank Reggie Owens, Drew Titan, Brooklyn Child Boxer, G-Funk, and Tyrone, and yourself for inviting me on, man. I love talking boxing with people who know what they talking about, man, and I'll be in the chats tomorrow anticipating of the big fight.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Kurt. Have a good night, brother.
You too.
All right. Fellas, I want to go ahead and get final words from everybody so we can release everybody on to their night. We can start with Brooklyn. You want to give us some final words? And thanks for coming, boy. This was my 50th episode of the Friday Night Chop Session. I appreciate everybody that came and supported in the chat. And, I really appreciate this. I couldn't do it without all of you, and your support.
Man, no problem, Stormy, man. First off, man, salute to you, bro. Congrats on 50 episodes, man. And I look forward to many, 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 many more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just gotta say this, bro. Like before I do my closing, like you are really like one of my favorite channels. I'm not just saying that because like you the homie or whatever, but like I really respect what you do. I respect your mind. I respect how you conduct your channel. It's really commendable, man. So salute to you, man. And
thank you, bro.
Salute to the chat, man. Salute to Drew. Salute to G Funky. D Style was here earlier. Reggie Owens, Tyrone. You know what I mean? Kurt, you know what I mean? I honestly, I'm gonna keep it real. I probably won't expect too much, but if anybody in the chat wanna talk some more, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do a live stream on my channel when we're done, because the only reason why I'm doing that because I haven't uploaded any content of this fight really, and the reason why I did that is I really wanted to wait and hold off before until the weigh-in. You know what I'm saying? Like and then I'm like, okay, now we got the weigh-in, now I can really break down how I see this fight going. So if anybody want to continue on the conversation, feel free to hop on my channel. I'm going to do a live stream when we done, you know what I'm saying, with Tyrone and stuff. And man, I can't wait for this fight, man. This is a big event. Like, I don't know if people really realize it. This is probably, like, in my time watching boxing, man, this event is huge with all the attention and I'm so happy for Wilder, man. Win, lose, or draw, I'm so happy for him because these last couple years he's been marginalized. People trying to make it seem like he ain't shit. He just bottom of the barrel. You know, people trying to throw dirt on him or whatever. You know, people always having their bullshit assessments on the man. Even these goddamn fighters. And this is something I wanted to mention earlier, and I'm gonna make this real quick. I'm tired of the narratives when it comes to this man. I'm tired of Wilder only has a right hand, as if you've never seen him throw a jab, as if you've never seen him fight off the back foot, as if you've never seen him fight on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Like, as if you've never seen him set guys up, as if you've never seen him set traps, as if he doesn't have a goddamn ring IQ. I'm tired of it. I really am, bro, because like, I feel like there's like a kind of, I'm really not trying to make it racial, but I really feel like there's like a little racial element towards this because like when people look at Wilder, it's just, a big buck with a right hand. You know what I'm saying? He's just throwing right hands and making and hoping something lands, and that's not the case. Deontay Wilder is a very underrated boxer. You know what I'm saying? Of course he has that. Of course he has a strong right hand, but he's a very underrated boxer, and I'm tired of these narratives. You know what I'm saying? And I hope whoever wins, I'm picking Wilder, but at the end of the day, hopefully Wilder gets a fair shake, because too much times there's this perception that if Wilder's not knocking somebody down, he lost the round. Bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So if the fight does go longer than what I expect, and if it actually does go 12 rounds, give Wilder his respect when he win rounds. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can hope for. But at the end of the day, I got Wilder by knockout. I see Spilka treatment. You know what I'm saying? I see, and Fury's gonna be laid out in a brutal fashion, and I'm gonna have a smile on my face. That's all I got.
All right. So Tyrone, why don't you go ahead and give us your final words and let people know where they can follow you.
Yeah, man, I just want to salute everybody, man. Stormy, thanks for letting me on, man, and give me this link. This was an awesome episode, man. Shout out to Reggie Owens, G-Funk, Drew Titan, Brooklyn Boxing, D-Styles, Kurt Sugar. Everybody was in here, man. Yeah, man, Brooklyn said it best. This is an event. The press coverage is going. That weigh-in, I'm telling you, impressed me. I hadn't seen a weigh-in that packed out since that, supposedly our cash cow of the generation, Mayweather McGregor. I mean, I don't think there was any other weigh-in more packed out than this here in America since that, or since any Mayweather fight, honestly. This is an event. Mr. Boxing Today said it. He said that when we look back at the beginning of this decade, we'll start with this fight, really. And it's going to be a statement. I think this is Wilder's, huge coming out party to the world. Not us, we already know, but for decafs and super, super decafs. Even the Eddie Hearn fans should love him after this, because this is going to be just devastating and nobody can deny him after this. So, yeah, I'm really excited.
All right. Did you tell everybody where they could find you, Tyrone?
You guys can find me on Tyrone's. I do a whole bunch of live streams, man. I need to get my ass moving and do some content. But yeah, man, just follow me on there, here. Just, talking boxing. So that's what it's all about.
There was a little bit of a glitch in the audio. Can you say it one more time, your channel?
Oh, yeah, Tyrone Smith, and then put boxing next to it. So you should see a whole bunch of live streams with me, Brooklyn, you, a whole bunch of other guys. I need to get moving and actually put some content.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
we appreciate you, bro. And, please, people, just check Tyrone out. He's out there. He's trying to come up with his channel, and very smart young mind for the sport of boxing. I want to take it now to G-Funky. Glad you were finally able to make it in. Sorry you weren't able to get in a little sooner, but I still wanted you to come in and speak your piece, man. You got some final words, and tell people where they can find you, brother.
All right. Well, first thing I want to say is just thank you to Stormybman for having me on your platform. I appreciate it, even though I was very late. Had to make the grand entrance, And also congratulations on your 50th episode. It's a beautiful thing, man. Keep growing, keep pushing. I'll be here to support you anytime. But, man, there's so much that I could expound on from what I've heard, man. Everybody here, a lot of good stuff I heard. Like what Brooklyn Child said about the narrative. Like, I heard Brian Kenny today on the way and say, I only gave Wilder 2 rounds the last fight, which is basically saying that the only rounds that he gave him were the knockdown rounds, which is BS. We all know that. Drew Titan made some great points, too, about how the jab, man, you got to keep him off balance with the jab. That's something that Wilder did actually do in the first fight. If you go back and watch that first knockdown, it was based off the jab because Fury likes to duck down and roll with the right hand. So he used the jab, stuck it out there, made him reset a couple of times. And you can only duck and go up and down so quickly, so you can't avoid every right hand that way. I think that's a big part of what's going to happen probably tomorrow. I just don't see him being able to do that all night long. If you plan on avoiding a big bomb like that right hand with your hands down, you're taking one hell of a risk, man. Reggie made some good points also. Man, I love what I'm hearing here. I love to hear everybody else's opinion. But at the end of the day, man, I just think that some of the things that I've seen Wilder improve on, that left hook off the jab, the way that he's, disguising his right hand, because people are starting to look out for that. So he's adding new elements to his game. Also, his defense to me has improved a little bit. He's taking these little steps back. That's what I noticed he was doing with Ortiz. As from what I seen from him in the first fight, he was kind of just leaning back from Fury and just kind of keeping his hands up like George Foreman style in a way. Didn't really see too much of that against Ortiz. So I think he's done some good improvements, man. As with Fury, he's kind of showing off with these dudes who really aren't that good, kind of fighting the same way. So I'm very interested to see what this guy Sugar Hill has done with him. If they plan on going in there and knocking this guy out, man, I think that's the wrong game plan to have, man. So I see Wilder winning this thing, and at the end of the day, we're going to hear and still, So, but that's all I really got to say, man. Thank you guys, Brooklyn Child Boxing, Drew Titan, Reggie Owens, Stormy, Tyrone, and I believe the brother's name was Kirk, who was on earlier.
Yeah, Kirk.
D-Style was here earlier, so I'm glad I got a chance to come on here and say my piece. And let's see the fight, man. I can't wait, man. I'm excited. So thanks a lot, Stormy. I appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you, and you're welcome on the Friday Night Chop Session anytime you like to come on and when you're available. Appreciate you. All right, Drew Titan, my man, what's going on, man? Let everybody know where they can follow you and give us your final words and thoughts, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First of all, Stormy, thank you so much, brother. You finally got up. You know what I'm saying? Happy 50th. It is appropriate that I'm on your show on your 50th. That's pretty. That's pretty dope. I like that, man. And I'll definitely jump on with you again. Definitely gonna do this again. Thank you so much for having me on. You can find me on YouTube. I'm on OG Boxing Talk in the morning with Fernand the Don, KQKC, Trap House Boxing, Kurt Sugar, and Blood Boxing when you can get the 200-pound Big Shirley off his lap this Saturday night. He can make the shirt. He can make the show. You know what I mean? You can also follow me on Sundays. I got my own show called LDBC Strong. I focus on the health and wellness within the LDBC because we got to keep it healthy, family. You know what I mean? We're boxing fans, you know, and we don't want to be Dan Raphael in this motherfucker. You know, we claim we're fans. We can't be fat fans or not even fat. I don't want to disrespect anybody, but you know, just out of shape, man. We just got to stay healthy as Americans, and, you know, just human beings in general. But you know, we have an obesity problem in this country, you know, so I keep everyone motivated with different topics and different guests, and you know, it's always open for discussion because I don't know everything, but I know some things, and I tell people what works for me, and I want to hear people's stories about what works for me, and I share it with the community. And starting on Mondays, I will be having my show on Mondays more dedicated to boxing called LDBC Raw, and that's an acronym for Respect All Warriors. And I'll be having various trainers and boxers from past and present. I believe my first guest this Monday will be William Jaffe this Monday. So y'all guys can check for that. I'll give y'all a time. Most likely it'll probably be around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can follow me on Instagram at Drew Titan also. Once again, Stormy, thank you so much for having me on, and happy 50th. Everybody like, comment, subscribe to every LDBC channel. You know, we are united as one, united front, man. We're combating old media, man, with the truth. And I speak the truth to the youth. I say, hey, youth, well, here's the truth. Better start wearing bulletproof. Little ODB there. But Wilder and 6, yo, let's get it. Bomb Squad all day. Thanks.
Absolutely. And I have to get with you, Drew, also, so we can get a schedule together for when we could get you on the end of the storm, bro. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll be talking on that. My man, Boxing Conversations with Reggie Owens, my co-host that usually rocks with me. And I also want to give a special shout out to Hyphy, my original co-host. I asked him to come on, but he felt like he wanted to fall back because there was so many people on there. But Hyphy has helped me tremendously when I first started out. That man has helped me so much behind the scenes, doing things, getting this together. What you see right now with what I'm doing, Hyphy had a big hand in that, and I want to give much respect to him. I still wanted him on tonight because it's the 50th, but we'll get him back on again soon. But go ahead, Reggie. Let everybody know your final thoughts and where they can find you, brother.
Oh, yes, indeed, man. It was good. Panel, Broken Childs, Drew, G-Funk, OG Stormy, Tyrone. Who else we had on here? D-Style, Kurt Anderson. Salute to everybody, man. About it. Need to try to get some sleep. I'm just that amped up about it. Hopefully everybody get out there, order this pay-per-view, set some records. Hopefully it can break some records, man. Get Floyd name so he can run and talk about these records he holds. It's time for a new day and new age in the sport. So hopefully people are out there, man. That the weigh-in crowd was big things going to happen with the turnout as far as money-making potential for this thing. And with that money-making potential, it'll start to really push these networks into pushing for these, top names fighting each other. That will really explode the sport of boxing if this thing pulls off some huge numbers. They can create stars who can kind of fill in that void that's been left since this sport, and this is the start of it. This is a start of a new creation and a great path for the sport of boxing, man. But all in all, man, it was a good night, man. You guys can follow me Conversations with Reggie Owens, and that's about it. Instagram On Instagram, I post all social related conscious type stuff, humor and all type of stuff on my Instagram 654. But I might start shifting it into I'm into too many things to make it strictly boxing. So that's my Instagram. I'm just all over the place with it. But that's all I got.
All right. And I believe that's everybody I run through. I wanted to give a special shout out to D-Style who joined us. And if you guys, well, I know you should be subscribed to D-Style. He's been out here, one of the old heads out here with the channel. So D-Style Boxing, don't forget to subscribe to him if you haven't. And then we had Kurt Sugar, who was out here with us. And Kurt is doing work with a lot of different channels. He's with Blue Blood. They got a show that they do. He's on the OG Boxing Talk with Fanon. And he's actually on the Three Wise Men of Boxing with me and Scrapbook. And by the way, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central, we got another episode of In the Eye of the Storm, where Stormybman, myself, will be featuring Mr. Boxing Today, the heavyweight man. So we will be collaborating tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central. So don't forget that, because he and I will also talk more in great detail on the fight for tomorrow night. This is a wonderful fight weekend. We got plenty to say, and even the numbers out here tonight on this show, people were in on this because it's the hottest ticket in town. And I'm glad to be a part of this. So, this is what it is. The Friday night chop session with Stormybman, episode 50. Proud of that. Proud of all the brothers out here who have joined me and rock with me to talk about this great event this weekend. And I just want to say, we got a Tuesday tussle on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central. And Stormybman is always dropping content, trying to keep you invested and entertained with the sports. So I want to thank everybody that was here tonight, everybody participating in the chat, everybody that's out there ear slutting and didn't participate in the chat. I know there's people out there watching. I hope you all enjoyed the show. And that's pretty much going to be it for tonight. It's been the Friday night chop session. All right, so I want to say peace to everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy the fight tomorrow night. And I may come back with a post-fight show when I get home from the theater, because Stormy going to check it out on the big screen. So, peace to everybody. Good night.
Ciao.